Welcome, everybody, to the Rolling Forward podcast. I have Mazzi here on the show. I am super excited to have him on. He has lived a life, and he's got some really cool stories to share with us today. We'll get into a little bit more about who he is, but this is the Rolling Forward podcast. It's a podcast of people who keep rolling forward no matter what life throws at them. Real people, real stories, powered by a purpose, resilience, and a drive that never ends. I'm Zach Sikora, aka Wheels, but I feel like everybody with a disability in
Everybody's name Wheels. If you're in a wheelchair.
yeah, right. Spina bifida didn't stop me. It just gave me a better excuse to sit down while I take over the world. Today's funny T-shirt, you might have seen this already. It says,
In case of fire, use stairs.
Thank you for reading it. In case of fire, use stairs. Can you get the mic a little bit closer to you? Tilt it up as well, please. Thank you. And you can get, I didn't make this shirt, but I've made other shirts at rollingforward.printful.me. And if you have a funny shirt idea, throw it in the comments. The funniest might make it into the shop. Now, let's roll into today's episode with Mazzi. Mazzi, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great. It's warm outside.
It is super warm outside. It's a little toasty in the studio too, but we're making it happen. So, okay, so I'm super excited to have you on the show. One of the ways, so I ChatGPT helps me plan all these episodes, and one of the things that I do is like basically say a summary of like what I know about the person. One of the ways that I described you was a very charismatic person.
Fair.
Have you been called charismatic before?
I guess
once or twice.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, I'm excited. I know you're gonna have some really cool stories. We're gonna talk a little bit about disability in general. We're gonna talk about addiction, and a whole bunch of other things. So, real quick, let's give everybody like a 10,000-foot view of who you are and what you're.
I don't know what that means, but it sounds cool. I'll let you know where I was born.
So 10,000-foot view is if you're looking at the Earth, it's basically like you can't really see a lot of details, right? If you're like 10,000 feet above the Earth. So
all right, fair.
That's what that is. So like don't go into all your details. Like just give us like a quick summary of who you are and all that.
My full name is Jaime Luis Mazzi. Half Puerto Rican, half Bolivian.
Oh wow.
I was born in Dorchester, Massachusetts. I was raised in Salem, Mass, and Lynn, Mass.
Yeah. Okay.
Is that enough, or am I going to 11,000 feet?
I think you're going like microscopic at this point. No, but like, so you're going to school right now, right?
Yeah.
What are you going to school for?
I'm going to school for substance abuse counseling.
Substance abuse counseling.
Yes.
I love that. And then you also are a basketball player, coach.
Yeah, I've played wheelchair basketball for a while now. I don't know when I started, when I was like 17 in high school, when I found out about wheelchair basketball, and I played for Mass Hospital School in Boston.
Yeah.
Then I played in college for Whitewater.
Yeah.
Did well there. Then I played for Team USA in 2008.
Paralympics.
Yeah, I played for the Paralympics in Beijing, China, and qualifiers in Rio de Janeiro in 2007.
Okay.
After that, I played in Italy. Also played in Germany, in Australia, in Istanbul.
Okay.
But yeah, I've played all over.
That's awesome.
And I'm trying to play tennis now, which I'm very bad at.
So you kind of took the Jake path of playing in college. You and Jake know each other, of course, through college.
Yep.
And then you guys both went to Europe. Did you guys play together?
Yeah, So first, I played in Sydney, Australia, while I was in college in Whitewater, because their league is during our summer break, which is their winter.
Oh, interesting.
So that was my first taste of playing overseas.
Okay.
And then after school, I went to Italy, to Toronto, and Jake was, I think, an assistant coach at University of Alabama.
Okay.
And they were looking for a big dude who was a 3.5, 3.0, or 4.0. And I was just like, well, can I invite my buddy that played in college with me?
Yeah.
And they were like, sure. They asked me if he was good, and I said, hell yeah, he's good. What do you mean? What do you mean I'm gonna bring somebody over that's not good?
Yeah.
And I asked him if he wanted to come play wheelchair basketball with me in Toronto, and it was a tough decision for him, man, because like he was starting to get his like life going
Mm,
in Alabama, which could have led to some pretty cool stuff. But I think the story is that his dad was like, "When do you think you'll ever get that opportunity or something like that?" Or
yeah.
live in the present. I guess something
Mhm.
cool. Like he said something inspirational. I guess, and he chose to come play with me, man. And we had a amazing team. One of our best players was Dirk Pasivan, and he's a German national team player. One of the best scorers I've ever seen. One of the best shooters I've ever seen. And I think we would have done really well if he didn't break his hand
Oh, no.
during one of our last games before the playoffs, and he got taken out on a fast break layup and broke his hand, and we were all sad. And
Oh, no.
yeah,
He broke his hand. Did someone clip him from
oh yeah,
behind or
they took him
oh,
out because we were
dang.
already up. We were probably up by 20,
Yeah.
and I guess he's a scorer. He's gonna go score, and
Yeah.
they didn't appreciate that.
Wow. Yeah, Jake was telling me a couple stories about like how crazy it is. So, real quick before we get into basketball, can you share a little bit about how you got injured?
Sure. So when I was 3 years old, my father kidnapped me from Massachusetts,
Whoa.
and he took me to Bolivia. And
Okay.
first, he got me to Mexico somehow, and there apparently there was a helicopter involved.
Real quick, where were you living?
I was in Massachusetts.
Oh, you are. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
I was told, I don't know, like the full story, I guess, or every detail, but I was told that me and my older brother, which me and him have different dads,
Yeah.
we were at a hotel, and he left my older brother there and kidnapped me and took me.
Whoa.
And I think he took a helicopter to Mexico or something like that,
Yeah.
and then was able to get a flight to Bolivia from there
Whoa.
with me.
How did you get the money to fly in a helicopter?
Well, I don't know, probably drug money.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
But he had some, I guess he had good money. My Bolivian side of my family. My
Okay.
grandfather's pretty like well known in the military,
Yeah.
and yeah, in Bolivia there's a lot of drugs.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, he kidnapped me when I was 3 years old. Right before my fourth birthday, I was in a car accident with him. Um, they
Whoa.
said first story I heard was a drunk driver hit the car that I was in.
Uh-huh.
Another story I heard, it was he was the drunk driver. I don't know which one is true.
Uh,
Now that I know more about him and the fact that he was addicted to stuff,
mhm.
also, I would I would probably guess that he was the guy drunk
Right.
because he actually died later on in life from a car accident
Whoa.
in a Jeep running a red light in Bolivia after he got deported from America.
Whoa.
And yeah, it was pretty bad.
He got in a wreck.
Later on in life.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah,
So
I was in hold on, I was in the car
okay, go
accident,
ahead. Go
and
ahead. Wow.
my dad flew through the windshield, and I stayed in the car and rolled and broke my spinal cord at the T12 spot.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I remember from the crash is staring at my body from the ceiling of the hospital with my back split open and surgery being done on me.
Whoa.
So I'm guessing I died, obviously.
Yeah.
And that's literally the only thing I remember from like staring down, and I just knew it was me.
Mm.
For being at that age, to
Yeah.
know that it's you,
Yeah.
and that's the only thing you remember, it's pretty crazy.
Do you like have vivid recollection of that, or is it just like
That like
a flicker?
I've known that view my
Yeah.
whole like since that,
Wow.
and I've never like thought it all the way through until I got older
Yeah.
because I didn't know what it was,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And then you start hearing about people dying and what do they call it?
Near death
Near death
experience.
experience
Yeah.
and having an out of body experience and stuff like that. And I was
Mm.
like, damn, I guess I had one.
Yeah.
But that's literally all I remember from that crash
Have you
is looking down on my body.
have you I mean, I know nowadays they keep pretty extensive like hospital records and stuff
Hmm.
like that, but I mean, I assume that would probably be long gone and they wouldn't have any
Bolivia,
record of
yeah.
that.
In Bolivia, they don't have they don't
Yeah.
hold very.
Yeah,
They're not very organized over there.
yeah. Right. Yeah, I mean that'd be kind of interesting to get that full story of like did your heart stop and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
you don't know like
No, I have no idea. I guess, and then I heard my grandmother called my mother in Boston to tell her where I was.
Uh-huh.
So then my mom and my brother came to get me. My brother got sick in Bolivia, food poisoning or something like that. This is all the things that I can remember.
Right.
And then they brought me to have my rehab and all that in Boston
Oh,
because of
okay.
the
Yeah.
the medical stuff, you
And
know.
and so where was your mom with all this? Like,
Uh, she she struggled with it, I guess. She later on in my brother's life, she attempted suicide
oof.
and shot herself in the head and survived and
No.
became blind. And me and my older brother had to be raised by my grandmother.
Whoa.
Um, and which was kind of cool because it helped me learn Spanish really well.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, I knew Spanish growing up, but I learned it really well living with my grandmother because she doesn't know English, or she didn't
Oh,
know English.
interesting.
And my brother became like pretty much my father figure from
Yeah.
there on out,
Yeah.
and like helped raise me, and my grandmother raised me.
How old were you when your mom did that?
I have no idea.
You
I
don't know.
don't
Okay.
remember. It had to be like either early elementary or before elementary,
Yeah.
something like that,
Yeah,
around
yeah.
there.
Okay. So this was probably after your accident,
Yeah.
sounds like?
Yeah, it was after
Okay.
my accident. Yeah, I
Wow.
got pictures of me being in a wheelchair, me being in like a body cast with my mom still being able to see. Yeah. I
Wow.
also got pictures of me walking on my
Did you
third birthday.
really?
Yeah. I was playing soccer or something like that.
Now you're full paralyzed from
I'm like
T12? From the
I'm
waist down?
T12, but I'm like incomplete because I can feel certain spots
Okay.
and certain spots I can't. It's weird.
Can you walk now?
No. I could move my hips
Oh, you can. Okay.
and I can move my knees or something. If my legs spasm, I can also move my legs,
Yeah.
like obviously.
Right, right, right.
Yeah. But yeah, I have pretty good torso movement.
Okay.
Yeah, but not complete. Not complete torso movement, but yeah.
And so you walking was with leg braces that just kept your knees straight,
Yeah,
essentially?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
For
Okay.
sure. I look like a robot.
Yeah, yeah. Interesting.
And it
Okay.
was extremely difficult, and I was well, I mean, I was young, so I didn't really have a opinion about it.
Yeah.
But that's I was forced to do that
Yeah.
growing up, thinking. And then my grandmother and my family, being as religious as they were,
Mhm.
thought that I could walk again by
Yeah.
going to church and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
I feel like I've been to every religion and every church, and I've
Yeah.
had everybody's hand praying on my face.
Yep. Yeah. I the last time that happened to me was I went to a Pentecostal church and like the pastor saw me and just told me to come up and he didn't even ask me, which I mean, I guess if you want to assume that they want to heal you and that they can,
Mhm.
then great. I guess that's a nice gesture, right? But
I feel
it is a little awkward.
I've been asked by people like throughout my life, do you if you could walk or if you could be healed, would you want to be healed? And
Yeah.
my answer just keeps changing. Like I don't know if I would want to be healed completely, like not have to do no rehab,
Yeah.
like put all the muscle in my legs,
Oh,
make sure my legs are fully grown. I don't have to rehab anything, you know. Sure,
yeah.
I would love that.
Interesting.
But if you would just fix my spinal cord and now I could feel everything, but I still have the same body,
Yeah.
like that would just be a struggle.
Right, because you've kinda, like, grown into,
Yeah.
like yeah, I mean, like, a lot of people that sit in wheelchairs, they can't lay completely flat, like,
Hmm.
because their muscles just, like, pull together and
Yeah, my
they're
legs have atrophied,
yeah,
and
yeah,
I think I have a broken femur from like when I was young and
yeah,
crawling a lot.
yeah,
Yeah, I've grown into this body, and it would be tough. It would be tough to get used to like trying to rehab to become an able-bodied person all of a
yeah,
sudden
yeah,
when
yeah.
you're so used to being a certain way.
Yeah, you know, I mean, you're basically in the same situation because you were 3 and you probably don't remember life as an able-bodied person much, right?
No, I mean I can remember what it feels like to move my legs,
Yeah. Oh,
just
you
barely.
can?
Yeah, I can.
Interesting.
Yeah, I can. But like when I dream, I don't run.
Yeah,
Like
really?
I don't. Yeah, when I dream, I don't run. I don't walk. I either float or I actually do more work in my dream and actually push my wheelchair,
That's great.
which I wish I would get. You know, more of the exercise while I'm dreaming. If I'm gonna dream about pushing.
Yeah. I've had dreams like the Avatar dream of like you remember the movie Avatar
Yeah,
where
yeah,
the
yeah.
guy's running in the beach and he has got the sand like trickling through his toes and stuff
Mhm.
like that. Like I've had dreams like a dream or two like that, but I don't have very vivid dreams. And when I dream, I don't know that I have a wheelchair when I dream, unless it's completely related to like
Wheelchair?
yeah, until unless I like
Like
hit a
wheelchair
curve or
tennis or
something like
something?
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think I'm walking around in a dream. I will tell you, so I'm half fluent in Spanish, like
Mhm.
maybe not even half. Like I'm a quarter fluent in Spanish,
Yeah.
and I have had dreams where I've been talking to somebody and I know they're speaking Spanish, but I have no idea what they're saying. And what's wild about that is like
Yeah.
how can my own brain make up what
A
really
language?
sounds like Spanish that I don't understand?
I feel like that's racist somehow. You're just dreaming of how Spanish people sound, but
Maybe.
they're not even speaking Spanish.
Well, we don't know.
You guys just sound like clicks and noises.
If you were in my dream, maybe you would be able to interpret for me.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, that's interesting. So, one of the things that I've talked with other people on the podcast about is like the stigma of walking.
Mhm.
And so I mean, I don't know if you remember like early on, but like it seems to be like the able-bodied world is like, oh, you're gonna be so much better off walking, and it's like, for me that wasn't the case. For Jake, that wasn't the case, you know.
Mhm.
So can you share like you use a wheelchair now?
Yeah,
So
so, like, I had to do the rehab to with the braces that kept my knees locked into place, and, like, they would be like, "Alright, I'm in this hospital." I think I was, like, maybe 11, 10, something like that, and
mhm.
they're like, "If you walk to the cafeteria, I'll get you an ice cream."
Oh, okay.
So my ass was hobbling, just pouring down sweat,
Yeah,
just struggling, taking an hour to walk,
yeah.
probably somewhere that I could have pushed in, like, 10 minutes,
Mm,
just to get a
mhm.
freaking ice cream.
Yeah,
And, I mean, I guess it's good exercise.
yeah,
Maybe it's good for your circulation.
right,
I'm not a doctor. I don't play one on TV.
right.
Um, but yeah, but once you get used to the freedom and being able to move very fast in a wheelchair and being
Yeah,
able to do pretty much anything you need to do other than go up steps,
yeah,
but I can still hop a curb.
yeah,
And if I'm feeling froggy enough, I'll disassemble my wheelchair and throw them up each step,
yeah,
each piece, and then go get it
right.
and assemble the chair again.
Oh, will you really?
Yeah.
You won't just try to drag it up like
Nah, I lose
whole
my
whole
balance.
chair? Oh, you
Nah.
do, okay.
Yeah, I'll lose my balance. I don't have enough. I can't plant on my feet.
Oh,
So like you can plant on your feet
yeah,
and push up with your torso,
yeah,
drag it.
uh-huh,
I can't. I would have to
interesting,
push with
okay.
one arm
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
to drag up
uh-huh.
from my face planting on the ground.
Right, 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 yeah, okay. That's fair, interesting.
Yeah.
I've never I've never thought about having to do it like that. That's interesting. See,
Yeah.
this is one of the reasons why I love talking with other disabled people. It's like we talk about some things that and I don't think I ever knew your like full backstory of like how you got injured and stuff like that.
Mhm.
That's crazy. You got kidnapped. I don't think I've ever heard that
It
before.
was out of love.
Out of love, yeah.
Well, it really was. My dad, I think my dad got caught cheating. He
Yeah.
was married to my mom. He got caught cheating. They were getting divorced, and he was gonna get deported.
Oh,
So, you know, I
wow.
try to look at it from his perspective because I was mad when I was younger,
Yeah.
mad at the world, mad at everything, and being like making it all about myself. But
Ah,
if you look at it from everybody else's perspective, and you try to understand where they were coming from,
yeah.
you give them. It feels a lot better.
Yeah.
Takes a lot of hate out of your heart.
Yeah. So were you mad that were you mad at the people who got you disabled? Were you mad that you were disabled? What were you mad about?
The fact that probably my first of all that my parents weren't together and my dad wasn't around.
Oh. Oh, interesting.
Cause like I got to know my dad, but I got to know him later in life,
Yeah.
and when we were finally cool and could like, and I was old enough to like have a good conversation with him and stuff like that, he
Mhm.
died,
Mm.
which kind of sucked. And it was
Mm.
like he died probably a month before I got to Whitewater,
Yeah.
or even less than that.
Wow.
Like it was like right before New Year's,
Wow.
and then I got to Whitewater like January 5th or something like that,
Mhm.
and I had to do 2-a-days with Jake yelling at me.
Yeah, yeah, right. So were you talking to him like daily, weekly,
No, 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 no.
monthly, or
I was
at that point?
no, I would just talk to him probably like a couple times a year.
Yeah, okay.
But I had visited him in California.
Oh, okay.
Well, for my I think it was for my 18th birthday. I visited him in California. He got
Yeah,
me a car.
okay.
He got me a '97 black Ford Thunderbird,
Nice.
2-door, tinted windows.
Okay, wow.
It looked cool as hell, but man, it was a salvaged car.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
literally a car that got destroyed in a car accident.
Was that your first car?
Yeah, and he, I guess he had mechanic friends that put it together or something like that, or he got it at auction. He would get cars at auctions, I think it was, because he had an
Yeah.
Escalade too that was like messed up.
Yeah.
But yeah,
My first car was an '88 Accord.
okay.
I feel like we're giving out security questions, security question answers, and
Oh, for your bank account?
yeah, right,
What was your first? What's your pet's name?
right, yeah,
What's your elementary school name?
right,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Where did you grow up? What was your mother's maiden name? And yeah, just throw out really random numbers like the
Yeah.
last four of your social.
What are your favorite
or-
numbers in your head?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know. This is completely unrelated, but I feel like there's like a guy that can like predict the last four of your social just based on like random numbers that you
I
throw.
just saw a comedian, have no idea what the hell his name was, on Netflix is a magician. And I was like, there's no way he's doing all of this without not knowing the crowd.
Yeah, right.
Like he knew everybody's zip code and
And you
where
got like David Blaine and
I seen
like
David
those
Blaine.
guys
Yeah.
that like it's like
Or that
how
mentalist dude, he's like, I'm gonna predict the final four.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's crazy. There was a show forever ago. It basically got somebody. It got like a couple people. Like it was this guy that was very good at manipulating people,
Mhm.
and they started in a room where like you do the experiment of like they invite you to a room and everybody stands and everybody sits at the beep, and then eventually like all the actors leave the room and like everybody's standing and sitting, and if you don't comply they take you out of the room and just say, all right, you're dismissed. But the people who were the most compliant, they then took them to the next step, and it got to the point where like they were in on it with somebody else, and they were like they were gonna push somebody off of a building or something
What
like
in the
that. Like,
world?
yeah, it was a crazy, I don't know. Anyway, that doesn't matter. But so okay, so is your mom still around?
Yeah, my mom lives in Puerto Rico right now.
Okay.
Yep. I
And
talked to her on Mother's Day for the
oh,
first
okay.
time in a while. And she's doing good. She
Yeah.
says she's in a wheelchair now
Oh,
because she's older. She's
okay.
got messed up hips or something like
Mhm.
that. But yeah, she's at peace where she's at. She loves Puerto Rico. I mean,
Okay.
that's where she was born.
Okay.
And she doesn't make a lot of money with like Social Security anymore because I guess it's very low over there in Puerto Rico,
Oh, interesting.
which I don't understand the whole government side of that. But
Yeah.
I wish she would come back here to make as much money as much money as I do on SSI,
Yeah.
because I feel like it would help her. But she says
Yeah.
she lives fine.
That's good.
Yeah, so
Is the cost of living less?
I would guess it has to
Yeah.
be. Has to
Okay.
be.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Not too savvy about world
Yeah, I
other
don't.
things that are happening
I
with
know
that.
they use the U.S. dollar,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah, yeah. Interesting. Okay. Well, that's pretty interesting. Thanks for sharing that story. It's I'm always fascinated by stories like that. So
mhm.
let's get into basketball. So basketball coaching, Paralympics, travel to Europe, all that. What's one of the funniest moments from playing that you have,
Funniest moments. Ah,
or crazy? We
crazy.
can do crazy or fun. Dealer's choice.
I don't know. One of the coolest, I guess, coolest things from my wheelchair basketball time was when I played in Sassari on the island of Sardinia. We were being coached by this Colombian dude who played able body basketball in Colombia, and he hurt his knee and then played for the Colombian national team. But he was coaching us, and he didn't really know much about coaching wheelchair basketball. He knew a lot about able body basketball,
Mm-hmm.
and he was a good player. Like wheelchair basketball wise, he was a great player.
Mm-hmm.
But he was trying out coaching for like the first time, and we were playing this team that had like 3 South African dudes from Cantu, I think it was, or Calgary. It
Mm-hmm.
was Calgary. Um, and I hit like 8 3-pointers out of 9,
Wow.
and we were struggling to win this game. Um, and he tried to draw up a play at the end to tie the game up or to win it. And I told him, and he was just drawing up a bunch of picks everywhere, and we did not have time for that.
Mm-hmm.
So I told him we're not gonna do that. And he got mad and like threw the board. And I said, all right, well, we don't have him anymore. And I grabbed the board and I drew up a play that would work.
Yeah.
So we go back in to do this play, and then he
Uh-huh.
calls another timeout and brings us back in, and he draws up my play and then wants me to explain it better so we can run the play.
Yeah.
And it ends up working.
Nice.
Our big guy gets in the paint for like a foul.
Nice.
And hits both free throw. Actually, he hits a layup, gets and misses the free throw. So then we go to overtime and win in overtime.
Nice.
But yeah, I was able to drop that play pretty fast, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And in the heat of the moment, it's not easy, but I
Right.
guess it just came to me, and
Yeah.
it was fun. And then in the half point. The All-Star break of the season, I convinced our coach to join our team, stop coaching us, and play with us
Oh.
so we can be better.
Was he able to? Oh, so you didn't have. So he didn't coach essentially.
No, I didn't care that he coached, but he was a great player and he was still good.
Okay.
And he was playing for the Colombian national team, and he's a huge dude.
Uh-huh.
Can shoot very well. Averaged 20 a game when he's played with us.
Wow.
So I was like, dude, you should I convinced him and the president of the team hire this dude for the second half of the season.
Yeah.
So we can be a better team, and we became a pretty good team. We actually played against Jake Counts
Uh-huh.
and Jeremy Campbell, who are my ex-teammates from Whitewater.
Okay.
We played against them to not get pushed down to the bottom, to the next league.
Yeah.
Because if you're in the bottom tier, you get sent down to the other league. And we had a tough game against them. Campbell hit a bunch of threes, and Jake was playing well. But that dude, he was the X factor.
Yeah.
So if he was coaching, we probably would have lost.
Wow.
But the fact that he was playing, he was good.
So okay, so just so everybody who doesn't know, Jake is a double amputee. He's a pretty high. He's a pretty tall player.
Yeah, he's huge.
You are not as tall.
No.
Can you explain the differences between those positions and how you guys play and all that?
It all really comes down to your mobility with your core.
Yeah.
Like Jake has his whole torso, and he can pretty much do a sit up while holding the ball up in the air.
Yeah.
And just tear the ball from somebody's hands, and I can't do that.
Right.
I would lose my balance.
Yep.
He can cut on a dime and shift his body weight left or right. He can tilt his chair. But having your abs and your obliques and all that, all those core muscles, you could do a lot more with your wheelchair if you're strapped in really tight.
Right.
And if you don't have a lot of stability with your core, you want to play lower so you have more stability.
Yep.
Thus, you play more like a guard. You want to have more quickness than overall speed, even though speed is everybody wants to have speed.
Yeah.
But quickness is more important for a guard than a big man. Big man needs to be strong, powerful, and tall.
Yeah.
And good straight line speed.
Yep. So
but yeah.
So in wheelchair basketball, obviously there's not really jumping. You could tilt on the side of your wheel on one wheel and you get a little bit more height that way. But generally for someone like you probably wouldn't get in the paint a whole lot and shoot, right?
Nah, man. I'm a shooter from outside.
Yeah.
I've learned very quickly that I was small, and I even grew up shooting threes a lot.
Yeah.
In the YMCA, I learned how to shoot from my older brother and from this random dude at the YMCA who saw me doing layups and was like, "Hey, shoot like this," and I was like, "All right."
Yeah.
And then shooting around at the YMCA and anywhere, and like shooting around like on a Nerf hoop in my apartment with my brother, or like my brother would like do little sports with me on the ground, like crawling on the ground with me with the Nerf hoops, or with a pair of socks that we rolled up into a ball and use a trash can.
Yeah.
Like we played all kinds of sports in my apartment, but I loved basketball more than anything. I grew up watching ESPN and watching like the old March Madness videos.
Yeah.
And I loved Duke growing up just because Boston College and UMass weren't very good at the time.
Okay. Okay.
And I saw the Celtics growing up, but I only saw the end of like towards the end of Larry Bird's career.
Mhm.
But I still fell in love with the Celtics. I grew up when Boston sports sucked.
Okay. Okay.
They weren't very good. But I did get to see Boston sports do really well.
Nice.
I think when I went to Whitewater, they started doing very good.
Did they?
Yeah. As soon as I left Boston,
Yeah.
they started winning championships everywhere.
You were good luck, I
Yeah.
guess, huh? At least you leaving.
Yeah, leaving was good luck for Boston.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny. Okay, so a couple other differences. But by the way, for everybody that doesn't know, just to brag on you a little bit, you're talking about a 3-point shot. Like, he is probably one of the best 3-point shot shooters that I've seen, able-bodied or disabled. Like you just heard him say he landed 8 out of 9 in one game. Like that's his stats are pretty incredible. And then being on the outside, just shooting bank shots and stuff like that. Like Mazzi doesn't miss. It's pretty incredible. So, quick question. Let's talk about 3-point shots. Like, so able-bodied people can use their legs, and of course, using your legs. Surprisingly, it's funny to see an able-bodied person try to shoot a 3 in a wheelchair because it's amazing how much legs they actually use.
Yeah.
And upper body that they don't use, essentially. So can you talk about like the difference in like how to shoot a 3 with a wheelchair versus not?
All right. So one of the best ways that I can explain. So shooting a 3, when I first started shooting 3s in college, I would shoot stationary 3s.
Dang.
Because it was easier for me because it was less mobility. I didn't have to worry about moving.
Yeah.
And that would be just like shooting a catch and shoot 3 in able-bodied basketball. You're not dribbling around and pulling up. So you're just waiting for the defense to help off of you, and you catch and shoot. And that's pretty much what I wanted to do because we had such good players on our college team. I was like, well, if I just sit here and the defense thinks I'm not going to do nothing, they just leave to go help and hit me. And if I could hit this while just catching the ball and just shooting, then it'd be easy. So it takes a lot of like a lot of mobility out of it. So you won't have you have less room more room for mistakes, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how to explain that. But I would jump in my chair.
Would you really?
Yeah, on my release.
I've never seen
Have you ever sat on a bed that's bouncy?
Yeah.
And then you hop on it? How are you hopping on it?
Yeah, it's got the springs.
Yeah, but how are you hopping on it?
What do you mean?
How are you hopping on it if you're not jumping? With your ass, right?
Yeah.
You can't explain it though, right? It's like your torso.
Yeah, your torso. Do your wheels come up though?
No, but like I'm hopping on that cushion.
Yeah. Okay.
So I would like crouch down with my torso and then hop.
Interesting.
Like hop on my release.
Yeah.
So I got more power out of that.
Okay.
And I just got good at timing it on my release to where all I had to do was keep the ball straight.
Interesting.
And it was kind of my max distance.
Guys, all you had to do was keep the ball straight. That's all you have to do to shoot a 3-point.
Yeah,
you can do it too.
Even you can be a sniper.
It's that simple. Keep the ball straight.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. So yeah, you kind of like crouch, like kind of slump over and
crouch
then,
down,
and then like sit up
and
properly.
then you release.
Yeah. So, but and just to kind of explain a little bit more for those listening, when you have the ball in your hands, your balance goes off the wall. Like it just goes kaput.
It could.
So
it depends on how you're strapped in.
Yeah, you can lean back a little bit and help. Your backrest helps you a little bit, but like if you lean over a little bit, it makes it pretty hard.
I play with my knees up a little bit.
Yeah.
Just to like counteract that, and I can like push off my thighs, I guess.
Yeah.
Or use my hips a little bit. but that's pretty much it. Like,
Yeah.
I can't hold the ball to the side
Right.
and do stuff like that. So
Right.
I'm a 2-0 if you wanna explain
Yeah, yeah.
the number system, the
We
classification system.
You guys watched the podcast with Jake. We already explained that. So I might even have a clip. No, I probably don't. Anyway, but yeah, just watch the podcast with Jake or just Google it. It's the point system
Yeah.
for wheelchair basketball.
Which I think every team sports or every sport should have a point system instead of having a quadriplegic face an amputee.
Yeah, yeah. Well, so this is one thing that Jake and I were talking about with that is like, so okay, just so everybody knows and can follow along, a point system is if you're higher scored, then you're less injured. If you're lower scored, you're more injured, and you have differing capabilities as you have those different ranks or those different classifications. So in tennis, there's para and then there's quad, or there's really like all all disabilities, and then there's quad.
Yeah.
And so one of the challenges with tennis is if you have too many different too many divisions, then you're going to be just playing the same person over and over and over at different tournaments.
Completely. I understand that completely.
What's
But I
the
think
solution is my question.
I think you have both. I
Okay.
think you just have a division where everyone that's in a wheelchair play.
Yeah.
Even play against power chairs.
Yeah.
If you want, play against able-bodied people.
Yeah.
Play against amputees.
Hey, tilt this up just a little bit for me.
You got a lot of direction.
Up. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. That's good.
All right. But yeah, you have, you can have enter that at your own risk.
Yeah.
See how high up you can play to.
Yeah.
And then play against the best in your ability.
Yeah.
Yeah. And see if you could beat the people in your disability bracket.
Yes. Yeah.
But I wouldn't say just have this and just that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I also believe that in wheelchair basketball. I like that we have the NWBA, and I like that Keith Wallace has a wheelchair basketball league where he has able-bodied people play.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so here's my next question that I was going to ask is, what do you think about having an all-person division, disabled and able-bodied?
I don't mind that.
Yeah.
I don't mind that. But I feel I say that because I'm cocky and I feel like I could play in that league.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's just like you get to a certain point and you become good at a sport.
Yeah.
And you want something else that's challenging.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to see if you can play against
an
NBA player in a wheelchair.
Right.
you
know? Right.
Like give an NBA player a wheelchair, let him train for a couple of years and see if you can beat him.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
They would get really good.
They would, yeah. And then I don't know, like there's quite a few tall people in wheelchairs, but I feel like
nothing
NBA players are
nothing
built
like an
different.
NBA player.
Yeah.
With those big butt cheeks.
Right, exactly.
That's a little bit when you're sitting down.
Can you imagine Shaq in a wheelchair?
Oh my God. I don't think there's a wheelchair that would be able to hold them.
Right. Like that would be ridiculous.
They would have to be reinforced just like how they had to reinforce the hoops for when he was dunking.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, like I'm for that too. I've actually gotten mixed responses from that. Like I do think it would open up the competition pool. It would, for tournaments, they charge a fee, and there'd be more people at those, and it might even bring in more of an audience because now your able-bodied friends are coming to watch another able-bodied person play and stuff like that. So like it would just, I think it would be a net good as long as we have like a paraplegic division, a quad division.
Like I said, I feel like you have to have both.
Yeah.
You can't just be like everybody included, and that's the only league we have.
Yeah. The messed up thing, and I'm curious what you think about this. I think it's messed up is when you have like people like Elliot, who is basically paralyzed from the C level, like the neck down level, has no abs, very little use of their arms, playing against, so a quad and tennis is if you have 3 or more limbs impaired.
Yeah.
So you can have both pinkies and a toe cut off, and you can play in quads essentially.
Yeah, that's messed up.
And so you're playing
they
against
do that in rugby too.
Yeah.
In quad rugby, yeah.
You're playing against a person that has their whole core and stuff like that. And it's like, man, like I think the limiting factor should be like you can play a division if you don't have abs, or if you have 50% of your
When it
abs or
comes
something like
to
that.
quad, I feel like your core muscles are more important than
Yeah,
like limbs.
then limbs.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because having your core, you can adapt your limbs in a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
You can't really adapt your core in
yeah,
many ways.
and it could be okay. You can have a core if you have your racket taped to your hand or
Mhm.
something like that. Maybe I don't know,
Yeah.
but like, it
But
doesn't
speaking of
seem.
Elliot, he whooped me in tennis.
Yeah, yep.
With him and his racket taped to his hand. I bet I might be able to beat him now that I've practiced some.
Yeah, I think you guys could compete against each other pretty well. I've we've been training on like hitting deeper balls and stuff
Mhm.
like that, and making it just a little bit harder for the opponent.
He's good at that. Like if I bring him to the net,
Yeah.
he'll like cut it right across the court for
Yeah,
me.
yeah, we've worked on like, hey man, like you have to put that away at that point
Mhm.
because you
He's
being able to
done.
recover, you're just done.
Yeah, if
If
once
you
he goes
don't.
up, he can't recover very well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it's about like making sure that he takes advantage of those like those second serves that may not be as hard and really placing them
Oh,
and
he's
stuff like
definitely done
that.
that to me.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, next time you come out to practice, maybe we can test that out. So. Okay, so let me see. So, do you have any other fun stories that come to mind from your wheelchair basketball days?
I got so many, but
Coaching.
I feel like they always involve other people that I don't want to throw under the bus.
Okay.
I,
You don't have to name names.
one cool story is when I was playing in Istanbul, me and Matt Scott,
Yeah.
one of my closest friends, because we were playing together in Istanbul for Galatasaray. We went to a nightclub, and we saw Allen Iverson there.
No way.
Yeah,
Wow.
and I was like, "Hey, hi, what's up, man? I'm American too." And he was like, "What the hell?" But he was like, "Hey, what's up? How you doing?"
Yeah, yeah.
And he went in there, and I think there was like somebody yelling at some girl, yelling that's saying that he had slept with her, and he had his wife with him.
Whoa.
So I guess some chick was just trying to blow up his spot or something,
Whoa.
and he had to leave the club. Like, this is just speculation.
Wow.
But I got to see Allen Iverson at a club. It
Okay.
was pretty cool. I've also hung out with this dude, James White. When I was playing in Sassery, they have a Sassery able-bodied team, and James White played NBA ball with LeBron James with the Miami Heat.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And he's a great player. I think he played for the Florida Gators in college. Was a
Okay.
great dunker.
Yeah.
I had to look up his stuff, but I got to go to a club with him and hang out and talk to him and stuff like that. Just
Wow.
one on like with nobody around, and he
Yeah.
told me some great stories about LeBron that I cannot say on.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, it's pretty cool to hang out with some NBA players.
That's awesome. Have you ever played with one in a wheelchair? Like just had him just try it out for a second?
Travis Diener, he used to play for the Indiana Pacers and the Marquette Eagles.
Okay.
Him and his cousin Drake Diener played with James White.
Oh, cool.
On that same team.
Okay.
So the way I knew all them is we would practice on the same court, and we would like watch the end of their practice
Uh-huh.
and then practice right after them.
Oh.
And we lived in the same city.
Uh-huh.
There's only like 3 clubs in this Italian city.
Yeah.
Or 2. And if we go to a club and we see them, they were like, and we speak English.
Yeah.
So, hey, you speak English? Hey, I speak English.
Yeah.
Let's talk to each other.
Yeah.
Let's enjoy the fact that we can communicate.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I mean, it's funny how all that money and the like middle class, upper class goes away
Yeah.
when you find somebody that can actually just speak your language and you're from the same country. You don't care that they're rich and they don't care
Yeah.
that you're poor.
Yeah. That's interesting.
You know,
have you ever heard of the show Extreme Home Makeover?
I have.
Do you know who James Turpinning is?
Isn't that a football player?
No, he's basketball. He was in Dayton. He's a little bit older than us. He played wheelchair basketball.
Oh,
for
I'm
a
not. I
while.
don't know. I don't think I know him. Well, no, maybe I do.
I bet you.
I bet I could.
picture.
Yeah, I
of
bet
him,
I could.
no.
Yeah.
But anyway, he got his housemate over at
I
Extreme Home.
want a house just to be me.
I know, right?
Give me a house just to start.
Right. You just buy like I don't know, a house on like a small house.
Yeah.
with
Like,
those
make this
tiny
over.
homes. Yeah, like hey guys, this tiny
I got this
home. I
box.
can't do it. Yeah, right. Can you build it for me?
Yeah.
But yeah, he got his house made over, and the reason I'm telling you this is one of the things that they shot videos at was one of our practices,
Mhm.
and they brought the whole cast out, and they always have like a guest on, and the guest was Kelly Pickler, if you know who that is.
I have no idea that.
She was on like American Idol or something like that. She didn't win, but she did pretty good. But anyway, Ty Penning, I don't know, I forget the guys' names, but it was neat
Yeah.
playing against some celebrities and stuff like that. So
Yeah, playing sports, man. Playing wheelchair sports. You get to meet a lot of celebrities. Like I've met Bill Russell,
yeah,
which is like a huge Hall of Famer for the
okay,
Boston Celtics.
nice.
I was when I was playing juniors for the Boston Celtics. We actually went to the Boston Celtics training facility in Springfield, Mass, and we got to play wheelchair basketball on their practice court. I've
Wow.
also played at halftime shows at the Boston Celtics, like and hit an NBA three during a Boston Celtics game.
Wow, that's awesome.
I
Okay.
hit, so I took it one shot and made it, and it was nothing but net. And
Uh-huh.
the crowd was very excited that I hit this three.
Yeah.
And then we only have like 5 or 7 minutes to play.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to pass the ball around, get all my teammates involved so they could have fun shooting at this halftime,
Yeah.
demonstration. And then the crowd starts booing me because I wouldn't shoot another three.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
hysterical.
but that's Boston for you.
Do what the crowd
Yeah.
wants, Mazzi.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, let's get into a little bit of a rapid fire real quick. So basically, I'm gonna give you an option or two, or just a question, and
Okay.
answer it within like a word or two, or a sentence, or
All right.
what have you. So, all right. So playmaker or sharpshooter?
Sharpshooter.
Okay, okay. I was actually curious what your answer would be. I know you can shoot, but you also are pretty good at making plays. So, as you said earlier,
Both.
yeah, right.
Well, I would like to think of myself as a sharpshooter, but I'm
Yeah,
probably a better playmaker. At this age, like since
yeah.
I don't practice every day,
Right,
I'm
right, right.
better, and I can see the court a lot better just because I'm wiser in my old age.
Yeah, yeah.
And people won't let me shoot anymore.
Okay, so funny or fierce on the court?
Funny.
Yep, you're a class clown, I guess,
Yes.
if you want to call it that.
Yep.
Hype music or chill music before games?
Chill.
Team or solo sport?
Team.
Yeah, I'm solo.
I know you are.
A skill you wish you had overnight.
Skill I wish I had overnight. Ah, man. Breakdancer.
That'd be awesome. Figuring out how to break dance without being able to move your legs.
Yeah. There's a guy with polio. If you ever look up breakdancing, there's a guy with polio that's a really good breakdancer.
No way.
Yeah.
Okay, that'd be pretty cool. One word that captures life this semester.
One word,
That captures life this semester.
roller coaster.
A roller coaster. I like it. Do you like being a coach or player?
Ooh, player,
Okay. Coaching kids or adults?
kids.
Okay. All right. That's it. That's the rapid fire. So I'm gonna get into the podcast question. It's what keeps you rolling forward?
What keeps me rolling forward? Look at you being all.
I know, right? Rolling forward podcast. What keeps you rolling forward?
Man. What keeps me rolling forward is the people that I'm surrounded by.
Yeah, I
Um,
love that.
because I'm human. I have my struggles, especially with addiction. But I've learned to surround myself, or I don't even know if I've learned to surround myself, but I'm just fortunate enough that my friends have stuck around me and have,
Yeah,
battled with me and hung
Yeah.
around, because some people that battle addiction, they're the people that love them or say that love them just can't handle it anymore and just say, you're on your own.
yeah.
But I've been fortunate enough to have people help me out in life, battling addiction, like Jay Counts, Matt Scott, you, all my teammates,
Mhm.
even the kids that know I struggle with it, like parents, they
Yeah.
all, just having people just say, if you ever need to call somebody, just call me. Even though it's not as easy as that,
Yeah.
because once you feel like you're gonna do something stupid, you're just gonna do something stupid.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's hard to reach out for help. You usually reach out
Right.
for help when you're done doing that something stupid.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
You know?
You're like, oh, I don't want to tell these guys I'm gonna do this.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna do something stupid and just
Exactly.
getting
But I'm
into a rabbit
fortunate.
hole.
But I'm fortunate enough to have people around that like to keep me around and well, they probably don't enjoy helping me through
Yeah.
helping me through my rough patches, but they enjoy having me around when I get past those rough
Yeah.
patches.
Yeah. There's a guy called I love that, by the way. Thank you for sharing. That reminded me of is a guy named Simon Sinek, and he says something along the lines of like when interacting with friends, like some friends choose to like not get their other friends involved in like hard things that they're going through.
Hmm.
And he goes, that's part of being a human is the desire to want to uplift everybody else.
Hmm.
And he says for those that aren't doing that, how dare you deprive your friends of that joy,
Yeah.
of being able to uplift somebody else and
Hmm.
and help them out. So it's just he says it so much better. So Google it if you guys want to see it.
I mean, I've also heard like people that hurt you the most, the people you care about,
Yeah.
but they hurt you the most because you care about them so much,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't want to see somebody struggle or do something bad in their life.
Yeah.
But if you care about them enough, you stick it through with them and
Yeah.
you help them out as much as you can. I mean, every story's different.
Yeah. What do you think about Braxton? He was on my show earlier. He says hurt people hurt people.
Uh, I mean, yeah, but I don't know. I guess every situation is different. I can't. Man, I don't know. I feel like everybody gets hurt.
Yeah.
That's just part of life.
Yeah. You're right.
So you can't. We all get hurt and we all hurt people.
Yeah.
None of us go through this life without sin
Yeah. You're
or
right.
without doing something stupid.
Yeah. We all
That's
fall
part of
short.
Yeah, that's part of growing up and learning. We have all done some. I bet I could ask every single person on this earth, tell me something stupid you've done.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you can't tell me something stupid that you've done, you're probably about to do something stupid.
Yeah. You're probably lying to all of
Yeah.
us.
Yeah, exactly.
That was probably something stupid that they
Yeah.
lied to you about that.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's interesting. So that's what keeps you rolling forward. That's a great answer. I like that. So what one of the things that I'm curious, we can have just like a random brainstorm discussion on this, but
Mhm.
like one of the things that I want to do is connect people who are watching the show to people who are on the show. And one of the questions that I want to ask is something like, what can viewers watching do to support you? And there's different options, right? There's one. I think somebody at some point said like there's a knowledge that they can give you.
Mhm.
There's obviously monetization that they can give you. And then there's one other thing too. But like I don't know the answer to like how I'd want the viewers to help me other than following and commenting and watching my stuff, you know?
For me, I mean, to be blunt, throw some money at University of Cincinnati.
There you go.
You know,
Okay.
we're trying to start adaptive wheelchair basketball at University of Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Right now we have tennis and track and field, but it's hard without the DEI.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, if you got some money you want to throw around and you don't know what to throw it at some adaptive athletics at University of Cincinnati or some tennis. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. I think this is a good time to ask what has wheelchair so first of all, how long have you been playing wheelchair sports and what does that meant for you in your life?
So I found out about wheelchair basketball when I was probably 17 years old
Okay.
in high school through my special education gym teacher that I had from elementary school all the way through high school, even though I've bounced around from school to school
Mhm.
because I was I was messed up in the head. But I was depressed in high school and because I was so athletic and I didn't have anywhere to put that athleticism or the fact that I just enjoyed competition or team sports.
Mhm.
And that's one of the things that I love to learn to love growing up, with the help of my older brother. And when I found out about wheelchair sports,
Mhm.
then I just had a new like light in my, like a brighter light in my eyes, I guess.
Yeah.
And I was more motivated. I still like needed to figure out more things about myself and figure out like my like my motivation in life still, even after I found out about wheelchair sports.
Yeah.
But it like I dropped out of high school, and I'm not stupid in any way, I think. But
Yeah.
like I got my GED after I got the reason why I got my GED was to go to college
Right.
to do wheelchair basketball.
Right.
If I didn't have the option to play wheelchair basketball in college, I would not have gotten my GED,
Right.
and I would have not gone. Like I didn't care about anything else. Like I still struggle with like finding out what I want to do in my life. Right now, I'm at substance abuse counseling just because I would like to help people that have helped me, like me, and I seen how other people that struggle with addiction have helped me.
Yeah.
So I would like to be one of those people at some point.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, adaptive athletics and wheelchair basketball. Like if I didn't have that in my life, I would have never gone to college. I would have never traveled the world. I wouldn't have met all the people that I have met in my life. And if I had to battle addiction without all the people that I have met in my life, that I probably wouldn't
Yeah.
have made it,
Yeah.
or wouldn't be here right now.
Right. Wow. So you got injured at 3 and you didn't find wheelchair sports until 19?
17.
17.
hmm
Wow. That's crazy.
I played like little adaptive sports with my gym teacher, but that it was like 1-on-1.
Sure.
Me and another disabled kid playing with against my
Yeah.
gym teacher.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wasn't allowed to play with the other kids because I would probably hurt them with my wheelchair.
What?
You know?
No
So,
way.
yeah.
Wow. Yeah, dude, I found racing at 10
Wow.
and then I found tennis at 12. So,
Yeah.
and then basketball, I think I got into that around 15. So, like, dude, that took,
It's crazy too, cause like I knew about like the Boston Marathon and stuff like that. I just
yeah,
didn't know that there was like more. I was like racing. I'm not gonna.
yeah,
Who am I gonna race?
yeah,
And that looks tiring.
yeah, right,
But like I grew up like playing basketball with my cousins and my brother, and
right,
playing baseball, like wiffle ball and stuff like that,
right, yeah,
and throwing around a football, and
yeah,
always doing something athletic.
yeah,
But and wanting to play sports. Like I see all these athletes on TV and ESPN. I'm like, man, I wish I could make money playing sports,
right,
you know,
right, yeah,
because I enjoy it,
right.
and I thought I could never do that.
You clearly at 17, just with basketball, shot off the
Yeah,
shot up real quick,
yeah.
hitting the Paralympics. And how old were you were you in the when you
I
got to the
was
Paralympics?
it was in 2008, so I was like, what? This is at 81,
Yeah,
2008.
sure, something like
Yeah, yeah.
that.
27.
Okay.
I was 27. Yeah,
Okay. Wow. That's so in 10 years time you got that good.
yeah.
That's crazy. That's awesome.
I was very fortunate enough to be coached by a great coach and have amazing teammates to learn from, like Jake
Mhm.
and Jeremy Loudy and Matt Scott and everybody, man.
Yeah.
It like I played with two NWBA Hall of Famers,
Yeah.
so
Wow.
yeah,
So let me ask you this. You said you were depressed in high school.
yep,
Um, One of the things that adaptive sports really taught me
hmm
is that whole accountability factor of like able-bodied people, they can help hold you accountable, but they don't really know, right?
yeah, for sure,
And you don't really get held accountable to a point until you get around other people in wheelchairs and they're like, "Hey, man, that's no,
yeah,
we don't do that."
yeah, yeah. Well, my brother held me accountable.
That's awesome.
And my grandmother kinda, but
Yeah,
my
yeah,
older brother, he didn't really care about the fact that I was in a wheelchair.
that's awesome.
He treated me just like anybody else.
Yeah,
And my friends too.
yeah,
You know how
good.
friends are
Yeah,
growing
yeah.
up,
Mhm,
especially if you grew up with them. They're
mhm.
just like whatever.
That's
Um,
that's true, but, like, I mean, even then, like, my family, they were great, like, they didn't really treat me like I was in a wheelchair, they didn't coddle me at all.
mhm.
My mom had a quote, "If you break a bone, it'll heal. If you break their spirit, it'll paralyze them for a lifetime."
Oh wow.
One of my favorite, yeah, I still, yeah. It's an awesome quote, and like, when it came to like me doing downhill skiing and going over jumps or
Mhm.
whatever else, like she'd let me do that, even though like, and I remember when I was like 10, I went to a racing tournament and there was a hotel with an escalator and like seeing all these other older kids go up and down escalators. And I'm like, Mom, I want to do that. Like, I have no idea like what I know I learned at some point and I think I learned there, but like we don't fully remember like if she was there with me or if somebody else just helped me. I don't know. But anyway,
I agree with you on that. I feel like I became an adult as a person in a wheelchair and a
yeah.
paraplegic. I became an adult paralyzed dude in a wheelchair
Mm,
when I got to hang out with other disabled
yes.
people in team sport,
Yeah.
like in Whitewater.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I got to hang out with all these other disabilities and wheelchair basketball players,
Mhm.
and I could just watch them live
Yes.
and learn.
Yeah.
I got taught how to swim by Jake.
Did you? Oh, you didn't know how to swim at that
No.
point. Wow. Okay.
And he was just like, "Get in the pool, dude."
Yeah.
Sure. I trusted him a lot.
Yeah, right? Well, and
Stop struggling.
yeah.
But yeah, Jake taught me how to swim. And I mean, just it was a lot of little things like that. But
Yeah.
you see all the things that other people in wheelchairs go through
Uh-huh.
and how they get past things.
Yeah.
And you learn that you can get past those things too,
Yeah.
just by watching or just asking for help.
Right.
But when you
Yeah.
ask somebody that knows what you're going through,
Right.
it means a lot more.
Yeah. It sure does. Yeah, that's fascinating. I think I would have been depressed throughout high school as well had I not
Yeah, I didn't have anybody.
been doing sports and all that.
I didn't have anybody in a wheelchair that I knew.
Wow.
I did have I think in middle school, no, elementary school, I had a friend who had OI that passed away.
Oh, I?
Yeah,
What's that?
osteogenesis imperfecta, what Adam has,
Oh, okay, okay.
brittle bone disease.
Okay, got it.
He died later on, like I think in high school. But that was like the only wheelchair friend I had.
Probably couldn't play much sports.
No, he didn't play sports, and like I didn't really have somebody in a wheelchair to play sports with.
Wow.
And when I found out about wheelchair basketball, and I went to East Boston to play basketball for the first time with these adults, it was fun, man. They put me in this pink tennis chair that had 3 wheels, and it was like a box frame.
3 wheels like a tennis chair.
A tennis chair. They put me in this pink tennis chair.
Oh.
It was a box frame. And I didn't want to get into it at first
Yeah.
because I was scared of change.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I could shoot really well in my day chair though.
Yeah.
And they were like, you're going to be so much faster in this chair. Just get in it. And I was like, no, hell no. I won't be able to shoot. And like I was trying to push in my day chair the first time there.
Yeah.
And my front wheels were so huge that they would rattle
Yeah.
when I would pick up speed.
Yeah.
So I got pissed off about it. So I was like, all right, let me try this pink chair.
Uh-huh.
And then I loved the pink chair.
Yeah, of course.
And then I was so fast.
Uh-huh.
And I could still shoot. I mean, I would lose my balance because I was going so fast.
Uh-huh.
But I figured that out, and then yeah, it was the most fun I've ever had in my life. And then I was to get my able-bodied friends to go with me to go there,
Yeah.
so I could put it on them so they could know what it feels like.
Yes.
Because I would play wheelchair basketball with them, but like I would play while they were standing up.
Yeah.
We played 21 and stuff, and they would just whoop me all the time. And
Interesting.
but when I finally was able to get them in a wheelchair, I was like, aha.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. That's interesting. Well, cool. Okay, let's get into we'll get into more adaptive disability talk in a little bit, but
All right.
I want to learn a little bit about your drug addiction
Mhm.
and all that. So how did it start? Let's go there.
So, I mean, I started to do drugs when I was probably in middle school, smoked weed,
Mhm.
just trying it out with friends. It wasn't a big deal. Like I didn't get addicted to it right away or anything like that.
Mhm.
And then I was drinking a lot in college, but just doing the college life, you know,
Mhm.
having fun drinking. And I was able to like drink responsibly, well, college responsibly, and still practice, and play basketball at a high level. But my body was in better shape. But I think after I like stopped playing overseas, that put me in another depression,
Mm.
like losing wheelchair basketball. It was like the end of an era.
Yeah.
Like, man, that was the greatest thing I've ever had, and
Yeah.
being able to play overseas and doing all that. like live my dream.
Yeah.
Like I heard a quote once is like, I hope it's one of the hardest things to do is reach your goal.
Yeah. I've heard like the depression rates for like Harvard graduates or whatever are
Yeah.
like off the hook.
Once you don't know like what your next goal is,
Yeah.
once you reach your most ultimate highest goal,
Right.
because like my highest goal, it should have been to win a gold medal, but it was just to get on a Paralympic team.
Yeah.
And I did that. And then another goal was play for money
Uh-huh.
and be a professional athlete.
Right.
And then I did that.
Right.
And then I won championships doing that. But then like when I was like, all right, I can't do it at a high level anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just not something I wanted to do anymore. I got depressed, didn't know what else to do.
Mm-hmm.
And all I knew at that time in the city that I was at was going to the bars and getting drunk.
Mm.
And then that just led to other stuff like drugs and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
it just spiraled out of control.
So it was all after Europe.
Yep.
And so how old were you when that?
30s.
30s.
Yeah,
Okay.
mid 30s, I think. Yep.
Okay. Wow. It's just I don't know too many people who have like gotten on drugs,
Mm-hmm.
but that seems like a late age.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I was fortunate enough to have things that I enjoyed to do, and I had a purpose, and I had a goal, and I was motivated towards something.
Yeah.
And once I like that was taken away, well, it wasn't taken away. It was just part of life.
Yeah. 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 When the next chapter hit.
Yeah, it was tough. I guess call it a midlife crisis.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fair. When you were in high school,
Yeah.
did you drink a lot? Did
No.
you smoke a lot?
No.
Or no, you didn't. Okay.
Like I maybe drink a little bit on a weekend or
Yeah.
smoke some weed sometimes with some friends, but it wasn't like I need to go chase some drugs and alcohol. No,
Right.
never.
And then, well, that's interesting because, so would you say, just comparing like life after basketball versus after Europe and basketball
Mm-hmm.
versus like high school, would you say you were depressed in high school because you were nearly directionless?
Yes.
Okay.
I was depressed in high school because there was something that I wanted to do,
Mm.
and I didn't see a way to do it
Yeah.
because I was disabled. Because I am disabled.
Yeah.
I'm in a wheelchair, and I see all these able-bodied people have all these options that I don't have.
Right.
And then when I found out that I do have that option, it changed my life.
Right.
And then I had to work uphill because I was destroying my life because I didn't know about wheelchair basketball.
Yeah.
So once I found out about it, I had to be like, all right, now I got to get my shit together because I see a goal that I want to work towards.
Right. Yeah. That's fascinating. So the just having the opportunities, that made all the difference.
Oh yeah,
That's
for sure.
That's awesome. I wish there were. I have a few more questions about what you went through, but like, I wish there was a way that we could like reach a whole bunch of people
Mm-hmm.
to get the word out. One, about getting somebody in a wheelchair involved in wheelchair sports as fast as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, let me ask you this. Do you think that there's any other outlet that gets you what wheelchair sports get you?
I don't know. That's tough because
Yeah.
wheelchair sports is everything to me.
Right. Jake and I were talking about that, like other wheelchair communities, like there's the Spina Bifida Coalition of America, I think is
Mhm.
what that's called. And they do like arts and crafts and stuff like that. But it's like, I don't know. It's not a big following, let's say,
Mhm.
as much as like wheelchair sports and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And it's like,
I can't think of, for me personally, I can't think.
yeah,
Like it's wheelchair basketball was everything to me.
Yeah.
Or is everything to me. Still
right.
is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, of course.
It's my fallback when when life's not going well. Just go to my wheelchair basketball family.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And you guys went through the thick and thin to get to where you're at. So
Mhm.
it's like you guys just have these real great connections. So and so in high school,
Mm-hmm.
you didn't do drugs, alcohol. How did you cope?
So in high school, what I did is played sports a lot, but
Yeah, okay.
with able-bodied people.
Right.
So in high school, I would come home from high school and not do homework.
Mm,
And find all the friends that I had living in that building that I lived in just a big ass building that used to be a school.
Mhm.
And I had a bunch of Cambodian friends, Dominican friends, Puerto Rican friends, and we would just all get together and figure out how I could play a sport with them.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Like we would play in a parking lot and play two-hand touch football, and I would just be the quarterback.
Yeah,
We would go to the YMCA and we play horse or 21 or something like
yeah,
that,
right.
and they would try to outshoot me because I could shoot still.
Yeah,
Yeah, like and that was all I would do
right.
during high school,
Yeah,
and I got so like drawn into that to cope with everything else, or I would play video games, but video games made it very isolating.
yeah.
Made me very lonely. I feel like it just like it helped for a little bit, but then it contributed to my
Yep.
depression. You
You
know?
start to avoid things that
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
you
yeah.
should be doing, and then that
Oh
weighs
yeah.
on you. And yeah,
But yeah,
dude, I've been there.
and then once I became old enough, I dropped out of high school, and I was just like, I never understood. I was like, man, I'm learning in school. Like I would
Yeah,
listen,
yeah.
and then you want me to keep learning when I'm not in school? Like I
Right,
want to go
right.
do other things,
Uh-huh.
you know?
Yeah,
But yeah,
interesting. Okay, so how long were you addicted to drugs?
uh, man, I'm always gonna be addicted to
Sure.
drugs. You know?
Okay, okay.
Like I'm always gonna have. Hopefully, I won't have a lot of relapses or ever relapse. But like
Yeah,
it's I know that it's possible, and I know it could happen at any point.
yeah,
And I just try to like have the right people around me
yeah,
and try to do things that keep me motivated in life
yeah.
and keep my mind off of isolation and being lonely and stuff like that. Like I think I've learned that I can't be alone for like 3 days in a row doing nothing.
Yeah.
Because then my mind starts playing tricks on me. As an addict, your mind starts playing tricks on you and telling you just what's one drink gonna do?
Oh,
What's one blunt gonna do?
yeah,
What's one like any drug? What nobody can see.
right,
Nobody's gonna know. You'll recover,
right.
you know? And then once I have whatever the drug or alcohol, once I have that, I want more
Uh-oh.
because it's that feeling of euphoria
Yeah,
and you don't have to do anything hard to get it.
right,
You know, the
right,
satisfaction feeling that you don't have to do anything hard to do
right.
or to get it.
Yeah,
And that's it just it's a mind game.
yeah.
And I always had like I still get dreams of doing drugs or alcohol and I wake up nervous as hell like, "Oh my god, what did I do?"
Oh, interesting.
And it's tough. But
Yeah,
it's it's something that I battle.
yeah,
A lot of people battle it.
yeah,
But I'm like I said, I'm fortunate to have good people around me that have my back.
yeah, yeah. That's awesome. So one of the things that I'm really big on,
Mhm.
and I've talked about a lot on this podcast, is purpose. That's one of the questions, like what keeps you rolling forward, right? It's like basically, in more words, in other words, it's like what's your purpose, right? And like one of the things that I struggled with for the longest time is
Mhm.
what is my purpose,
Mhm.
right? And like you kind of hit on like a whole bunch of different things of like being directionless and that turning to doing bad behaviors and
Mhm.
bad things with your life that are not productive, right?
Mhm.
And then like um when people told me to find your purpose, it was like, yeah, but like for example, I wanted to be a tennis coach for the longest time, right?
Mhm.
But just doing all the admin stuff, like, but behind the scenes and stuff like that, like the amount of work that takes to do all that and doing it by yourself is just not fun
Mhm.
and stuff like that. It's like, it almost rings hollow because it's like, find your purpose. It's like, yeah, but like, I want to do this. I just don't know how.
Well,
And
that's why I say I like team sports.
yeah,
For me, life is a team sport.
it is. You're right.
Like if you try to do this life by yourself and
Yeah.
think you could do everything by yourself, it's gonna be really hard and it's gonna be an uphill battle.
Yeah.
And you don't have anybody to lean on, you don't have anybody to ask questions, you don't have anybody to bounce ideas off of. Like
Right.
you need people around you to have different opinions to, you know,
Mhm.
be able to talk to.
So, Alex Hormozy is a guy that I've been listening to a lot. Are you familiar?
No.
He's an entrepreneur. He's made millions of dollars.
I like millions of dollars.
Yeah, and one of the things that he says, and I think Chris Williamson and him were talking about this. He says something like, "Hey, there's going to be a lonely chapter of your life to success, to making $1 million or whatever else," and it's interesting because as I built this podcast, for example, like, of course, I'm talking with people and doing all that, but the amount of behind the scenes stuff that I've had to do by myself, because, like, you know, I have friends that are like so encouraging of me doing it, but they don't want to build this with me, you know?
Dude, hey, you say that, and I'm like watching you set up. I'm like, this is fucking crazy.
Yeah, right.
Like, stop playing with the cameras.
Right. Exactly.
Like, this is what you do. This is crazy.
Right.
But yeah, there was a whole setup to this.
There was.
It took a while, and I'm just sitting here like wondering, you really want to do podcasts? This is what you really want to do? Well, but I mean, hey, it's pretty cool, man. It's cool watching you do this.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, it is. It's and to think the first time that I did all that, right? And I've already got the cameras set up in the settings that I want them, right? And I've already got OBS set up and all that. So I picked out these mics. I picked out the sound dampening on the walls. Like the amount of like they say
you need some podcast friends.
Exactly.
You need some podcast friends.
I actually think there's probably a community of podcasters.
Because they're all gotta be thinking the same shit. Yeah. Like, oh my God, I gotta go through this by myself.
Right. Then you could probably even jump on Discord and be like, hey, I'm trying to do this. Can you help me out? And stuff like that. Like there was one thing on Discord, or on OBS that I tried that I took me forever to figure out was the scene switching. So if I'm talking into this mic, it switches to my camera. If you're talking into your mic, it switches to your camera.
If I talk loud enough, wait.
You gotta talk for like 2 or 3 seconds before it actually switches, but so that way it doesn't like jump, right?
Okay,
it doesn't jump like, and it's just like real chaotic.
Start giving people seizures.
Yeah, exactly. But like, I was on Google, I was on I was on ChatGPT trying to figure this out. I literally spent 12 plus hours. And at some point, Matt, like I was like, Matt, you're a programmer, help me out.
Yeah.
And he looked at it for a couple hours and gave up. And he's like, I'll take a look at it later, maybe if I have time.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things where like nothing was helping, and I couldn't figure it out for the life of me.
You know what? My older brother is actually a podcaster.
Is he really?
Yeah. Yeah.
We gotta talk.
I think his podcast is called Magendum.
Magendum.
He had a dream. He had a dream of the word Magendum.
Okay.
And it was an epiphany, I guess. And he didn't know what the word meant or anything. And he just made up the word.
Yeah.
And this was, I think, when he was either in college or in high school. And then now he has a podcast called Magendum.
Interesting.
And
what's it about?
I don't know. I've never read. No, I think, you know what? My brother is pretty cool. And I know he has a thing where he has expecting fathers reading to wombs and like getting books to expecting fathers.
Oh.
So they could read to wombs.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. And he's trying, I don't know how far that's gone. I haven't talked to my brother in a minute.
Okay.
And usually when we talk, it's like, happy birthday. Merry Christmas. All right, dude.
Yeah. All right. Talk
you know, because he lives in New York.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got to listen to his podcast. I wonder what his podcast is. It's a good question.
Yeah. Interesting.
But yeah, he has that. I think it's a nonprofit that for the giving child books to expecting fathers so they can read to the womb.
Wow, that's crazy.
And then he has a podcast called Magendum for, I don't know what he does with that.
What a niche thing to do. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Gotta wonder, does he have kids?
He does have kids.
Okay, so maybe that's how he got invested into that. That's interesting. Yeah, but anyway, like as far as like going through life as a team, there's, you know, I'm a huge extrovert, and for the longest time I didn't want to do things without somebody else. And so now I'm kind of like, hey, listen, if you want to do the things that you actually want to do in life, sometimes you got to do things on your own.
Yeah.
And do that.
Well, you gotta have the self-motivation to go after something you really want.
Yeah.
And then once you get it rolling,
Yeah.
you'll find the people in that same field
Yeah.
that'll help you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I bet once this podcast gets really going,
Mhm.
you'll start talking to other podcasters, and you'll get more ideas.
Yes.
And it'll build.
Yeah.
But you definitely have to find that motivation in yourself first
Yeah. Yeah.
to go. Because I mean, I started shooting around playing basketball because I wanted to, not because
Yeah.
somebody else told me to.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it, and I would go practice on my own. I would go outside, and it'd just be some random dude in a wheelchair, which would be me, on some outdoor court, and people would just be watching, driving by, like, why is there a dude in a wheelchair shooting basketball
Yeah.
by himself outside in the 80-degree weather?
Right. Right. Yeah, that's interesting. So I said all that because we were talking about purpose
Yeah.
and like finding your purpose and all that. So like someone that feels directionless,
Mhm.
it seems like you've been directionless a couple times in your
Mhm.
life and have re-engaged with that direction. And
Mhm.
what would you tell them? What advice would you give them?
Try new things.
Yeah,
Try everything and try new things. Surround
Yeah.
yourself with good people, and don't be scared to try new things.
yeah.
Like, you're not gonna find your purpose unless you try all kinds of things, man.
Can, can I tell you that this sounds absolutely horrible that I made this connection with the try new things thing?
What, Kool-Aid?
But no. But I think that's one of the reasons why I'm single is there's
God.
there's an element of dating
Mhm.
that I just it drives me nuts to go on like an hour date or whatever, and
Mhm.
then like it just feels like
That drives-
such a waste of
Dude,
time.
that drives everyone nuts.
I
Nobody
know.
wants to start the beginning of getting to know somebody. They would just want to jump into already knowing them and
Yeah.
already being in love and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I wish I could just fast forward 90 days
Yeah.
or until it ended and see how long, you know.
Everybody's in a relationship is like, I don't want to start all over.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. And it's like, oh, like I was already used to this person or whatever
Yeah.
else. And
Comfort.
yeah, there is an element of comfort. And it's funny because like I'm such an extrovert. You would think I'd like it, but there's just an element of like, I don't know. It's almost just, the first date is almost like feeling each other out. Like the fun.
Oh, it's super weird.
Yeah.
It's weird until it's not.
Yeah. So anyway, you said try
Oh, yeah,
try
purpose.
things out.
Purpose is huge, dude.
Yeah.
Purpose, for me being in a wheelchair, purpose was huge. And for me being an addict,
Yeah.
purpose was huge.
Right.
Like, having a purpose helped me out,
Yeah.
helped me become sober or strive to be sober.
Right.
Because I've been with other addicts, and a lot of them need either to hit rock bottom
Yeah.
to find the ability to become sober or want to become sober, because you can't be just sober just because everybody else wants you to be sober.
Yeah.
It has to be you that wants to be sober.
Yeah. Right.
Just because your family wants you to be sober is not enough.
Yeah, and I've also heard somebody say like find a bigger why, right? Like
Yeah. Well,
find your why.
Like, if you find your purpose, like substance abuse counseling is one of my purposes for trying to be sober.
Mm-hmm.
Wheelchair basketball, wheelchair tennis,
Mm-hmm.
helping Jake Counts with UC, University of Cincinnati. That's like all that. And if I stray away from any of those, like for 3 days,
Yeah.
my mind starts playing tricks on me, which sucks.
Yeah.
But this is the best I could do right now, and
Right.
and I'm good with it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I've also heard something along the lines of one, take risks, but two, take on as much responsibility as you can.
Ooh,
And I thought that was kind of cool.
that I don't know about that. I like responsibility to some people can be overwhelming.
It can be, but that's why as you can is in there.
Yeah.
As much as you can.
Okay. I didn't hear that part.
Yeah.
That I understand. Because anytime I've always struggled with like responsibility.
Yeah, same.
And anytime I've heard be responsible for this, I'm like, oh God, don't do this to me.
Yeah.
Like, why are you doing this to me? You hate me.
Right.
Don't put that evil on me. Ricky Bobby.
Right.
Yeah, but like, yeah, slowly, I would say if you struggle with
Fair.
responsibility,
Yeah.
start out slowly
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
build.
Yeah.
But the more you can handle, the better.
Like, as Jordan Peterson says, like, clean your room, right?
Yeah. Or
That's
clean your side of the street.
yeah, see, clean your side of the street. I
Yeah.
like that, yeah.
That's an addict thing.
Oh,
That's an
is it?
AA meeting thing.
Oh, okay,
Keep
okay.
your side of the street clean.
Interesting, okay. Yeah, and there's just something awesome about, like, start small, and now, you're coaching, I'm coaching,
Mhm.
I've got the studio that I'm taking care of and doing things with, and
Mhm.
I have a duty almost to, like, when I edit shorts to not put somebody in a bad light unless I hate them later. No, I'm just kidding. Uh,
Man.
don't make me angry.
You
Uh,
wouldn't like me when I'm angry. You
yeah,
wouldn't like your picture when I'm angry.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but and I've actually heard people say, like, with goals, for example, like I was always, like, scared to make goals,
Mhm.
and, like, now my mom's looked at my calendar and she's like, "Who are you?" Because, like, so I'm so much more goal oriented, or, like, calendar driven than
Mhm.
I was, like, 10, 20 years ago even. So
I would say, well, a person like me, I would say start with small goals.
yes, yeah, yeah.
Achievable
That's
goals.
fair. Yeah.
Small achievable goals and build.
Mhm.
But don't do like I did and have the biggest goal in the world and then achieve it real quick and then
Yeah.
not know what else to do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like break it up into tiny small goals and keep going.
Well, so here's the other thing that brings that we kind of touched on earlier is, like, instead of goals, do actions, right?
Mhm.
So, like, work towards something and continue working towards something, and if you do hit the Paralympics and all that, like, figure out as you're getting to the Paralympics maybe what's the next goal that you're gonna strive
Yeah,
for and
yeah.
stuff like that, so that way that traction doesn't get lost,
Don't you
right?
wish we could learn all this stuff like
Oh,
earlier in our age? But
yeah.
then we don't have to be 40s and be like, you know what? I wish I would have thought of this when I was 20.
Dude, it's the mindset shift that I've had, especially since I've been, like, listening to, like, YouTubers and stuff like that. Like, the mindset shift I've had is just crazy different. Like, in my 20s, my
Mhm.
goal was to have fun. And it was
Yeah.
like life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and, like, they just inundate you, and maybe this is my own doing, but, like, I was
That's that.
inundated with, like, you should be happy and eat chocolate, you should be happy
Yeah.
and drink beer with your friends, and you should
YOLO.
yeah,
YOLO. You only live once.
yeah,
That's how you think when you're in your 20s.
exactly. And, like, if I could have, like, shook myself in my 20s, and you always heard things like, "Hey, like, it's only gonna be good for a season," or whatever else, like,
Oh, you've always had older people telling you
you
the
do.
right advice, and you still don't
You're
listen.
like, "No, I'm gonna have fun."
And then now you give advice to younger people, and you're just like, they're not gonna listen because I didn't listen.
They're gonna listen to me, though.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be the guy that motivates the whole, yeah, all the 20-year-olds.
What I have to say is
Yeah,
profound.
trust me, I've done it. They don't care.
Right, right, exactly. Anyway, that's a cool little segment on purpose. You got anything else to add?
Nah, man, this was fun. This was really cool.
So we're at an hour and a half. I still got another segment or two. You ready
I'll
to get
try.
going?
I'll try. I guess I could talk about whatever.
No, no, no. These are good things. Do you have I guess to go back to your drug addiction,
Mhm.
while you were going through that, you got a pressure sore, and people in wheelchairs, if
Mhm.
they sit down for too long, they can't feel their butt very well,
Yep.
and then you can get a sore from that. And
Yeah.
those,
So, when I don't know what year this was. It was in my 30s. I was living in Whitewater, and I was done playing overseas. And I was partying too much, and I started doing drugs. I was doing opiates and uppers together, speedballing pretty much, and staying up for days on end. Excuse me. Um, and I would just play video games for days on end without sleeping.
yeah.
And I got a pressure sore sitting down. And honestly, probably saved my life.
Oh,
The pressure sore actually, for me, because pressure sores usually kill a lot of paraplegics.
they do.
So I got the pressure sore, and I got it got infected. It turned into a solid bump, and they had to like cut it open and drain it.
Whoa.
And after that, it got infected. I went back home, kept doing drugs. After that, it got infected.
Oh.
It traveled up to my left shoulder. I couldn't move my arm. I
Whoa.
was sleeping on the couch. I had my friends carrying me to the shower. They were
Whoa.
getting sick of it. And I started hallucinating. I
What?
started throwing up. I did some drugs and I started throwing up. I was like, why am I throwing up from these drugs? I don't throw up from drugs.
Uh,
But my friends noticed, and when I was hallucinating really bad, they took me to the hospital,
mm,
and I had to withdraw in the hospital, which
wow.
sucked, but at least I was somewhere safe.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I had to get shoulder surgery to get the sepsis out of my left shoulder.
Whoa.
And yeah, I had to get my hamstring put in my left butt cheek
Wow.
because the sepsis ate all the way to the bone. So now I kind of sit lopsided.
Wow.
But it was tough, man. It's crazy. I had to learn how to sit.
Yeah.
I had to learn how to sit in my wheelchair all over again
Wow.
because I went 6 months that I was only able to sit up to eat in a
Yeah.
hospital.
Whoa.
And then I moved into a nursing home,
You just
which
your muscles just atrophied
my
and
back muscles, my
wow.
abs, like sitting hurt.
Whoa.
It was like when you work out
Yeah.
and the next day you hurt.
Yeah.
That's what it was for my back muscles, my abs. From
Wow.
sitting for like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and every day I had to keep increasing it
Wow.
until I could finally just sit in my wheelchair.
Oh.
And then I had to my arm muscles atrophy too, so it was hard for me to transfer.
Whoa.
I had to use a slide board.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was tough to it was tough to relearn how to be a paraplegic.
Yeah.
It was not easy, man, and I had to stay at a nursing home. I was in a nursing home for about a year and a half, and then my buddy Ian Lynch, also known
Uh-huh.
as Ice Pick,
Ice pick?
yeah, came and got me out of the nursing home and brought me to Kentucky
Oh.
to help with the Cincinnati Dragons and give me purpose.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't have I was in this nursing home, no purpose.
Yeah.
Had a couple warrants for my arrest
Wow.
from doing drugs.
Wow.
And when I got out of the nursing home, they helped Ian and Jake helped me through my court cases. They had to drive me from here all the way back to Wisconsin for my court cases. And then Opie, Jeremy
Whoa.
Lottie, was let me stay. He would let us stay in his house.
Wow.
He's another dude that I owe a lot to, man. He's been there for me
Yeah.
through my drug habit. Like him and his wife
Yeah.
been great, Melissa. They've been awesome.
Yeah.
He just got inducted to the Hall of Fame this past year, and I was there for that too. Watch him
Yeah.
and Mascot get inducted to the Hall of Fame.
Wow.
That was really cool. But yeah, man, they've been influential in my life, trying to
Uh-huh.
become sober and trying to get my life back together.
Yeah.
He's helped so many people, just like
Yeah.
Mascot and Jake and Ian,
That's
everybody.
awesome.
Yeah. But that's why I say, man, life's a team sport, dude.
Yeah.
You gotta have people around you. Because if I didn't have that, I'd probably still be in a nursing home looking for a place to live,
Right.
or I probably would have went homeless as soon as
Right.
I could have taken care of myself. Maybe
Yeah.
gone homeless and
Yeah.
kept doing drugs.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I'm glad you're here in Cincinnati
Yeah.
and living life. So
Yeah.
that's pretty awesome. Gosh, I had a question. I don't remember. I lost the question because I was so encaptivated by your story.
Well, I can keep talking about drugs.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it went well for a couple of years here. And
Yeah.
then like I got lonely and I started going to bars because that's how I know how to meet people.
Yeah.
And at that point, I've never gone to an AA meeting or anything like that. So I didn't think of myself as an addict yet.
Yeah.
You know, I just thought myself as I was depressed,
Right.
mental health, and I just went through a rough stretch because of not playing basketball.
Right.
And I was like, all right, I used to be able to drink and go to the bars and have fun, just
Yeah.
like I did in Whitewater and when I was in college, when I was overseas.
Yeah.
And I could meet girls and, you know, have relationships and stuff, meet the community.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like that's how most people meet the community. You go, you mingle in bars,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and you get drunk with people because
Yeah.
that's social lubrication.
It is. Yeah.
So I did that, and I found drugs
Mm.
because I know, like when you get drunk, you don't care anymore,
Right.
you know? just like you have social lubrication, you're easier to ask
Yeah,
to,
yeah,
hey man, let me get a bump.
yeah, right.
And yeah, I found drugs again, and
Mm,
it took about a year probably for
uh-huh.
me for it to go bad.
Yeah,
And then yeah, I got bad into that, and I stopped going to basketball,
yep,
stopped coaching
mhm,
because I was ashamed.
yeah,
I was ashamed of where my life had gone,
sure,
and I didn't want any people that I cared about to see that.
right,
So I stopped talking to Jake. I stopped talking, and the only time I would reach out to Jake is when I really needed him
yeah,
because I became homeless.
yeah,
I OD'd a
yeah.
bunch. OD'd like 6 times in one year.
Whoa,
Ended up in the hospital. Um, yeah,
wow,
went to rehab. I went to 4 different rehabs. My last rehab I went to was because I was homeless and it was snowing.
oh,
And I called Jake and told him, and he took me to a homeless shelter, emergency
mm,
homeless shelter. At this shelter, I met this guy named Jason,
uh-huh,
who does AA with me now.
okay,
Um, and he sent me to Pikeville, Kentucky. He sent me to Louisa, Kentucky, to the rehab
uh-huh,
at ARC, company called ARC. And they sent me to Pikeville after 30 days.
uh-huh,
And I did about 5 months of rehab in a treatment facility,
uh,
and that was not easy. It was like I've never been in jail, but I bet it's a little less than being in jail. But it's definitely like they tell you when to wake up, when to eat, make your bed, do this, do that,
yeah,
and do AA meetings all day.
wow,
Yeah, like learn about addiction all day, and it got very repetitive, and it was not easy. But I learned a lot, and I learned that I need to be around sober people.
yeah,
I need to be around AA people.
yeah,
And then I called Jake one day. I was like, dude, I'm ready to get out of here.
uh,
And he came and got me. He drove 4 hours to Pikeville, Kentucky
wow,
to get me. And he put me in his garage with his stepsister
uh,
or sister in law. And yeah, I'm staying with her now. And then he got the job at UC
uh,
for coaching tennis
yep,
and track.
mhm,
And he was like, "What do you think about going back to school,
yeah,
finishing school?"
yeah,
And at first, I was like, "God, no, please, no, not school.
yeah,
Homework again? I'm too old
uh-huh,
for homework.
right, right,
Forget that."
yeah,
But
he's trying to convince me to go back to
yeah,
school.
yeah, yeah. I was like, that's a whole nother thing of depression. I'm gonna need a therapist for that. Yeah, a therapist for going to school.
Yeah,
But no, man. And then he helped me get to AA meetings. So did Donham, his sister in law. She helps a lot, take me to AA meetings,
uh-huh,
and his wife also helps. Wow. But yeah, going to AA meetings, I was like, man, I bet it would be cool to like learn how to be a substance abuse counselor,
yeah,
and it might help in my sobriety.
yeah,
You know.
yeah,
So yeah, I was like, sure, dude. I'll
yeah,
apply at UC and
yeah,
see if they'll take me and transfer my credits over from Whitewater.
uh-huh,
And I was surprised they took me. And I
wow,
got into school. And
cool.
my first semester, I got straight A's.
Did you graduate from Whitewater?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
Yeah, there was one class that weeds everybody out that I could not pass, that I took twice and failed.
Interesting.
And it wasn't even a major that I enjoyed. It was just a major that I took because it was the easiest to
Yeah.
stay eligible.
Yep, yep.
So I did that. But yeah, I got straight A's my first semester. Second semester, I got 4 A's and a C, I think.
Okay.
And yeah, now I'm chilling in his garage, waiting for fall semester. Hopefully it
Okay.
goes well. I did relapse recently, like a month ago,
Mm,
but it wasn't that bad.
okay.
And I told Jake, and he kind of knew
Yeah.
because I was alone during summer, living by myself in
Mhm.
Cincinnati, where there are a lot of bad stuff going around.
Yeah.
And very easy to get,
Yeah.
and that was tough. But it's all learning situations, man. And I'm lucky enough to live through them, to be able to
Yeah.
learn from. And like I said, have my dog Jake,
Right.
and he knows me very well, and he knows when I'm struggling. And it's somebody that I could like talk to,
Yeah.
cry to,
Yeah.
laugh with,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
And he's gonna be there. He gave me a huge hug, man. He was like, "Come stay with me,
Oh,
and I got you. We'll figure it out."
Dude, Jake's so good about that stuff
Dude.
like that. He'll take anybody under his wing
Yeah.
and like just treat you like family.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
It's funny, man. Playing basketball with him in college, I
Yeah.
would have never thought that he become the person he is now.
No, yeah.
But that's my dog. I feel like I've seen him at his worst, and and now I get to see him at his best,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it's really cool. He's a man,
Yeah.
but he's human.
Yeah, he is.
But he's very intelligent. He's very smart, and he's
Uh-huh.
learned from his mistakes, and
Yeah.
he's a good dude, man.
Yeah.
Without him, I don't. There is no me without him right now, honestly.
You know, one thing I wonder if this correlates at all. So there's a specific kid that we've coached that you probably coach in basketball. I've coached before in tennis.
Mm,
That doesn't play wheelchair tennis anymore. And he, as he's playing sports, he gets really hard on himself,
mm,
and he gets taken out of his element.
mm,
And the journey that I've seen him go through over the amount of time that I've coached him with tennis is him being able to bounce out of that quicker.
mm.
And so instead of losing the match, he's lost a couple games, and then the next time he loses one game, and then the next time he
Yeah, yeah,
maybe loses a point, and so on and so forth.
yeah.
Um, would you have any? Do you think that's correlated to like drug addiction at all, or?
I don't know. I like everybody's life is their own. I don't know what they've gone through. I can't judge. I can't just be like, yeah, you probably did drugs.
No, no, no. I mean, like the bouncing back period. So you
For
just
me,
said about a month ago you
Mhm.
relapsed, and it didn't sound like you relapsed for very long.
I did not,
And
which is
before
yeah.
you've had relapses that have lasted a year,
Mhm.
and now it's a month, and
Mhm.
and that kind of reminded me of that player,
Okay, I got
in
you.
that journey that he
I
went
got
through.
you. That that is because I'm in a better place now,
Yeah,
and I guess I learned from my mistakes,
yeah,
and I
yeah,
saw which road I was going down,
yeah,
and I think the way Jake treated me
yeah.
through my addiction
Mhm,
before
mhm.
made it easier for me to break down and ask him for
Yeah,
help
yeah.
or be truthful to
Right,
him,
right, right.
because I've lied to Jake before and been like, no, I'm good,
Yeah.
but
Mhm.
the way he's treated me through my addiction made it easier for me to be like, all right, he has my best interest. He's gonna help me, and he's gonna listen to me at the same time.
Yeah,
He's not just gonna tell me what to do or
yeah,
throw me in jail, or throw me in rehab.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know, he's gonna help me through it and ask my opinion,
yeah,
which helps.
right,
And I honestly just need to be around people,
yeah,
and he saw that. I didn't want to go back to his garage, but he was like, please.
uh-huh,
And um, I knew that it would take a lot of stress off of him for me to go back and stay
yeah,
in his garage and be near him.
yeah,
It's hot in there, man.
yeah, I bet,
But I love being around him. I
uh-huh,
love being around his family. I love being
uh-huh,
around his sister-in-law Donna,
yeah,
and the fact that they take me to a meeting anytime I want,
yeah,
which is hard on their gas tank
right, right,
and their vehicles and all that.
yeah,
Like I got to spend 4th of July with a family. You
yeah,
know, I'm
uh-huh,
far away from family. My Bolivian side of my family is in California.
yeah,
My Puerto Rican side of my family is in New York and Boston.
yeah,
So I'm a counts right now.
yeah,
You know,
Mazzi counts.
Mazzi counts, man, and hey, I'm very fortunate and lucky to have them.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. You mentioned in the car over here that you have 2 felonies and you're okay talking
Yes.
about it. Can you get into that a little bit?
So it was from maintaining my addiction.
Yeah.
I didn't like. You're not gonna maintain your addiction on Social Security.
Yeah.
Just making Social Security.
Right.
And when you're addicted to opiates and you withdraw if you don't have one every day,
Yeah.
you have to figure out a way to make money. And the only way I knew how is just sell drugs. And
Right.
I had people wear wires on me and buy drugs off of me.
Oh.
And I've also been caught with drugs in a traffic stop.
Oh.
So I had those 2 felonies on me, and I had to face them.
Yeah.
And I was very fortunate enough to that the judge actually knew Jeff Glassbrenner, which was a teammate of mine on the USA team in
Oh.
2008 in Beijing, China.
Oh, no way.
He was a teammate of mine. I guess he was a family friend of his,
Yeah. Wow.
and he gave me probation
Wow.
instead of putting me in jail. I was very fortunate enough. So
Wow.
network,
Yeah.
get to know
Yeah.
everybody. I keep telling you, man, life's a team sport.
Yeah.
If you know everyone and everybody knows that you're just struggling, you're trying your best, man. Everybody's trying their best in life, and we go through it.
Yeah. What's the diciest situation you've been
Diciest? I don't know. Doing drugs that you don't know where they came from.
in? Oh, yeah.
Doing drugs with people you don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the diciest.
Um, did you I mean, just selling drugs in general, like,
Hmm.
I mean, you hear stories of, like, somebody getting jumped and, like, they just take your
That
drugs instead of
that never. I was. I don't know. I guess fortunate. I don't know if fortunate
okay.
is the word,
Yeah.
but I had friends that I knew did drugs,
Okay.
and I stayed in a small circle.
Yeah.
It's like addicts feeding other addicts,
Yeah.
you know? So I didn't go outside that. I didn't
Yeah.
have like random people
Yeah.
trying to rob me.
Right.
I've been stolen from before, but
Sure.
it comes with the territory.
Yeah, yeah. I'm
Uh,
gonna say.
but I'm not like El Chapo.
Yeah, yeah, right.
I wasn't making a lot of money at all. I was
Right.
making enough to probably maintain my habit,
Right. Right.
and that's it.
Uh,
Like I wasn't a drug dealer on Netflix.
yeah, right. You weren't
I feel like every addict at some point is a drug. Oh God, I'm sweating.
uh
I feel like every drug addict at some point has, like, if it's bad enough, they go to that point
yeah.
because you have to maintain your habit, your addiction, or else you
Yeah.
go through a horrible withdrawal.
Yeah.
Some withdrawals can kill you.
Yeah.
Some are really bad.
So when you made the decision to that you needed help, were you I mean, I guess you did that multiple times, but
Hmm.
are you in a an intoxicated position or are you was
Every
this a sober moment that you're like a realization when you're sober and
sober,
yeah,
yeah,
okay.
which is weird. I feel like most people do it while they're like coming down,
Yeah.
but usually when I need help, I was sober,
Yeah.
and I've been sober for a couple of days, and I was just like, and I knew I was gonna get that itch
Yeah.
pretty soon, and
Mhm.
that's when I needed the help.
Got it.
Well, a
Interesting.
couple of times I didn't have the money to get drugs,
Yeah.
and I didn't have money to eat or anything,
Yeah.
like rock bottom,
Yeah.
which most addicts need to get to get help.
Right.
Um, but this last time, I had enough money to get drugs. I had food. I had everything. I had shelter. I had everything. I
Uh,
still have everything.
yeah.
Um, I just I didn't want it to go further just because.
You've been down that road.
Yeah, I've been down that road, and I didn't want to go down that road,
Mhm.
and I wanted it to stop.
Mm,
Like I literally wanted to stop, and I knew I couldn't stop it myself, and I needed some help.
mm.
And I knew that from previous experiences, because
Yeah.
previous experiences I tried to stop it
Right.
every single time,
Uh,
and as soon as I got money, the only way I knew how to stop it was to get more drugs and feel better.
yeah. Yeah.
Because drugs is like this: you feel great doing them,
Mm,
you come down, you get depressed,
mhm,
and it's a vicious cycle.
mm,
The only way you feel better is doing more drugs.
mm.
And then you keep going round and round in that circle until you run out of money, run out of friends,
Yeah.
run out of everything.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to get to that.
Yeah.
And Jay called me, was like, "What's up, man?" And I was like, "I can't even keep my eyes open, dude."
Mm.
Like, because I was so tired. I was exhausted from being up for like 3 days.
Wow.
And he was like, "Let me come over and talk." I was like, "All right, man." He came in and started crying.
Mm.
I was like, I need help, dude.
Mm.
He's like, "All right." He's like, "We'll figure this out."
Mm. What advice for someone if someone's listening to this and
Mhm.
has a family member or friend going through drug addiction? What would you tell them?
Man, just be there.
Mm.
Try to be there for him. But honestly, an addict, it's up to them whether they want help or not.
So when you say be there for him, some people might say try to be there to stop them from doing the drugs or something like that. But I'm guessing that probably, I mean,
It
wouldn't work.
it's different. Every case is different. Every
Yeah.
person is different, and every stage that you're at in your addiction is different.
Yeah.
Like the addict has to be ready.
Yeah.
You can't just force it on them. I've seen people in rehab get drugs while in rehab.
Mm.
I've seen people try to cheat the system. I've seen people run from rehab.
Mm.
So it's up to the person, man. But you can only be there for them when they're finally ready.
Is it
You know?
is it possible to speed that along to show them that they should be ready?
I have no idea, dude. I wish I knew that, man. It's like I said, it's on an individual basis.
Yeah.
Everyone is different.
Right.
Some people need to find a purpose. Some people already have the purpose and they just need to get back to it.
Yeah.
Some people need to hit rock bottom.
Yeah.
Some people need to get arrested.
Yeah.
Some people just need love.
Yeah.
You know, you don't know. Every addict is different. That's why
so
there's
true.
not a one way fix all.
Yeah. That's fair. And so maybe it's one of those things where it's like, hey, if you're a family member, would it be beneficial for them to speak to like someone like you and what your degree is in and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, addicts talking to other addicts is the best help, I think. Like
Oh,
going to AA.
Yeah.
AA helps me a lot. Just being around other people that I know they can't drink or do drugs either.
Yeah.
It helps a lot. Like I wish, cause I still want to go out and meet people, hang out with people, and I wish there was more bars where it was just fruit punch and soda,
Yeah.
and you could play pool and play darts,
Right.
but you don't have to drink alcohol or do drugs,
Right.
and everybody's down like to talk to you even though they don't know you.
Right.
They don't have to get all messed up to say hi.
Yeah.
You know, what's up with this world that we have to get messed up to say hi to somebody?
Yeah, right. That's so that is messed up.
Yeah, for real.
You know, that's another reason, like just something that I've been toying with when it comes to starting the podcast is like, not only have I never had a 2-3 hour conversation with you like this before, but that's like targeted about you and all that, but like there's also like, you know, you see these YouTube channels where they bring in like two strangers together and they have them interact in a certain way, and there's things like that I'd love to do. That's just like, it is a social experiment, but hopefully maybe it brings people together in a uncouth way or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's something I'm toying with. But
You know what I was just thinking, dude?
What's that?
I was like, man, I can't wait to like you get this really, really going.
Yeah.
And we could say, remember that time we were in that little studio?
Yeah.
And we were sweating and our arms were stuck to the wood.
Yeah. Yeah. That would be awesome. I do eventually. I think I'll have a bigger studio, bigger room.
Dude, this
stuff like
is impressive,
that, so.
man. This is pretty cool.
Yeah,
Like, you're going for it.
Yes, I am definitely going for it. It is good, but I was just talking with Matt about this. I think earlier today, even we were talking about. He's like, yeah, but you know, the studio's fine. It's an ample size, but it's like, earlier I had to set up the camera that's to your right, and I had to set up this camera, and like we were playing musical chairs as we were doing that with our wheelchairs. So, you know, a bigger studio would be nice to have eventually. But
and you have other workers in here, and that would be crazy.
Did you know? I think this is just fun to share on the podcast, but also like just a crazy stat. So, in order for me to be monetized, I have to get, I have to have 1,000 subscribers. Subscribe, like, and comment to the podcast.
Yeah,
that's what
dude. You gotta hit your buttons.
Yes. Wait, hold on. No wait, that's not it. No. Oh yeah, stop. No, I'm trying to turn it off, but it's like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Oh,
That is the first time that I've hit my buttons on stream. So thank you. I mean on camera. So thank you for doing that. That's
remember
awesome.
the date.
Yeah.
Save the date.
The chaotic date where I pushed all the buttons
Yeah.
at one time and you could hear all the sounds at once too. Trying to figure
Remember
out
that
the
one time you didn't know your buttons?
I'll push your button.
Yeah. Oh, now you figure it out.
Yeah. No, uh,
You gotta have
yeah,
labels.
they are named right here. I
Are
can
they?
see them, but like, it's too far away for me to like speak into the mic, see the labels, and they are color coordinated too. But you know, being colorblind, that's a little challenging for me.
Oh, that was intelligent.
Yeah, but yeah, it would be nice. I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't matter. But anyway, so eligibility for me to get monetized is 1,000 subscribers,
All right.
which is like, okay, that's not too far. And one of the following. So I have to have 4,000 valid public watch hours.
Okay.
So 4,365 days.
Okay.
And then
How many
or
watch hours you got so far?
I'll get to that in 1 second. Or I have to have 10 million valid public short views. And
in a year?
in 90 days.
Oh, sweet.
10 million in 90 days. And I did the math and it's 111,000 views. 111,111 views.
You better do something weird and crazy
every single day for 90 days. Now, I was talking to ChatGPT about this, and it said usually what happens.
Your best friend.
Yeah, it is my best friend. You're right.
I feel you, dog.
Yeah, right. But it says usually you get like 1 or 2 really viral videos, and then that hits you close to that. And if you do one viral video that hits you 5 million views, then
you gotta start a gimmick. You like start eating really cold ice cream. Or
yeah.
Brain freeze while you talk.
Right. Just
yeah. You gotta down this soda and drink.
yeah, right. But yeah, so it's like 4,000 watch hours or 10 million public short views. And so right now
Do you have this like on Instagram and stuff?
No, not well, yes, kind of. I have a Rolling Forward podcast account. I think it's Wheels 3.14 and a TikTok, but I've only been posting content on YouTube at this point. Because I wanted to learn how to like upload everything to YouTube before I went other places.
Okay. Does the TikTok Reels count? Like
no,
if you get viewed down there?
Not for YouTube monetization.
Really?
But if I can get monetized on all the platforms, and then that's where the money kicks in because I can.
That's when you start making the big bucks.
Yeah, so like I can put all my shorts and content on all the different socials and like hopefully
that is a full-time job.
Yeah, it is.
Jesus.
But there's automatic there's apps that I can put my content on and I'll just shoot it to all the different apps.
Yeah.
But they're all structured a little differently, so I don't quite know how that works. So that's my next step of learning what I'm doing on the with the podcast. So but yeah, so like right now I have 15,000 views on the channel, but the valid ones is about half that. So the views just count as someone clicking on your.
And you need how many?
10 million.
You're almost there, buddy.
Well, here's the other thing. I've gotten this in 2 weeks.
Okay.
So I mean, I've recorded a whole bunch of.
But it's like 365 days, right?
Well, it's 90 days to get to the 10 million.
Okay. What's the 365 day one?
And then the 300 is 4,000 public watch hours.
So what's a public watch hour?
So people that tune in are watching us, it counts
like
as,
live?
No, not live. Just like if someone plays back our video and watches the whole thing, like that
they gotta watch the whole thing.
No. Like I'm sorry, if they watch 10 minutes, that counts.
Okay.
Right? I don't think it'll count if like they watch 30 seconds.
Okay.
Or like it has to show like some sort of engagement on it.
Okay.
And I think shorts are different and maybe even separate. I think.
Yeah, I think shorts are like you got to watch the whole short.
Yeah. Well, there is engagement. I can show you the stats. The stats later, but like
That's
the
great.
video that I just posted has like an average percentage viewed of like 61%.
You
So
got to get Shaq in here.
I know. Let's
See if
get
we can.
Shaq.
We need an episode fit Shaq in a wheelchair.
Make it happen, Mazzi. I
Fit
need help.
Shaq in a wheelchair. That'd be
Fit
good.
Shaq in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Let's do that.
Yeah.
We make a YouTube short.
Yeah.
Fit Shaq in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Fit Shaq in a wheelchair. We
Fit
can't say
Shaq.
put.
Yeah. Fit.
Because that might be a threat.
Yeah. Can we fit Shaq in a wheelchair? Get like top end or performers to come and see if they can fit Shaq in a wheelchair.
Right. That would be crazy. What do you think his seat width would be? Like,
I have no idea, dude.
it's got to be like 30 or something, you know?
I'm not gonna start a rumor on his width of his ass. Get Shaq's ass width.
Oh, no. Well, when you put it like that, yeah. So,
Watch them hips.
oh my gosh, next thing I Google. Have you ever? There's this theory of like, if you die unexpectedly and they don't know what happened to you, they're gonna look at your Google searches and like.
Oh God.
I think of that every so often because like the Google search of what is
Shaq's width ass width?
Yeah. What is Shaq's waist circumference or something like that?
Oh my
last thing I Googled, like,
this dude was weird.
Yeah, exactly.
He's got a podcast and
right. Like, anyway, but
good times.
I don't know what we were talking about before, but we can go ahead and move on. Okay, so there is we kind of talked about that one already. Let me get into like my deeper like philosophical adaptive sports questions. So I'm learning that I might be solo in this feeling of whenever I come across a new able-bodied person that I've just met, there's an elephant in the room. And with my disability, and what I've tried to figure out, what I've dedicated a lot of time and thought to is how to get rid of the elephant in the room as fast as humanly possible. And I'm curious if you think that there's an elephant in the room, first and foremost.
I guess. I feel like I do that naturally.
Yeah,
to make a joke.
Yeah.
I think it's just maybe a survival skill. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I agree with that, I guess. Because like in AA meetings, like first thing they see is as I roll in is look at this dude in a wheelchair. And then I've had people be like, you're so inspirational because you're an addict and you're in a wheelchair.
Yep. Yeah.
And I'm just like, dude, you could be in a wheelchair too if you want.
Right.
Keep going at it, dog. You'll find one.
In fact, let me introduce you to my friend who was an addict that put him in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
No.
But I mean, like, it's so in rehab, there was an amputee there. And one of the jokes that me and him that I told about him is that he pawned his leg for drugs. Because he came in and he didn't have his prosthetic. And I was like, what'd you do with your prosthetic? And they had to find him a hospital chair. And he had to be in a hospital chair.
Oh, no.
The only transportation he had. I was like, dude, would you pawn your leg for drugs? But I felt like that was a way to make everyone laugh and to break that tension.
Yes.
And be like, yeah, I'm fucked up and I'm disabled.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Like, being a drug addict sucks in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Because when you run out of money, you guys would go rob houses. I got to find a house that has a ramp.
Oh my God. I'm getting demonetized before I get monetized.
Like, try being a drug addict in a wheelchair, dude. I think it's easy.
Have you ever tried stand-up comedy?
Wait. You gotta do the buzz. There you go.
Oh my God, that's funny.
And then at the AA meetings, everybody's like at the end, there's like stand up to pray and hold hands.
Yes.
At the end of the meeting, it's like, or sit down.
Or sit down.
Yeah, or sit down.
Or stay seated.
Yeah.
You're good.
Yeah.
That's funny. So we talked about there was okay, so let's talk about people like saying that you're inspirational.
Mhm.
So there's a podcast, I mean, I'm sorry, a TED Talk. It's called "I'm Not Your Inspiration, Thank You Very Much." And it's a lady in an electric wheelchair who
Mhm.
basically talks about how it's patronizing and stuff like that. And
I understand that. So my whole my opinion on that whole subject is get to know me first before you call me an inspiration.
yeah, okay, that's
Like,
fair.
know my whole fucking story. You
Mm-hmm.
know, don't call me an inspiration because you see something that's hard for you to do.
Yeah, yeah,
Just because you see me in a wheelchair, be like, man, that must suck.
yeah.
You're an inspiration.
Right, right,
Thank you for staying alive.
right,
Like, what am
right,
I supposed to do? Just die? Quit?
right, right.
Like, what would you do?
It's like what other like yeah, you're right. Like people don't realize like what other option do you have?
Yeah.
Like do you think it's good to wallow in self-pity and
Yeah.
maybe that happens for a time?
And I mean, maybe the person that's saying you're inspirational has a lot going on.
Yeah.
Like, if they were to be put in a wheelchair, they would be extremely depressed and they probably off themselves.
Yeah.
And that's why they're saying you're inspirational
Right.
because they probably have a lot going on in their life.
Right.
You know, they have a completely different view on life.
Yeah.
Because I also have people that will come up to me and make wheelchair jokes.
Yeah, me too. I love
And
that.
yeah.
I freaking love
and
that.
and sometimes I love it. Sometimes I'm like, you're an idiot.
Oh, that's true. That's
You
true
know,
because
because some jokes are kind of like, dude, that's kind of fucked up.
yes.
Like, you don't even know me.
That's true. And when it comes to strangers, like I'll let my friends do it. Like if a stranger does it, I told a story in one podcast about a stranger doing it that I laughed hysterically at because it was original and it was awesome.
And it could be like it could also be funny,
Yes.
but some people will keep going and going and going and
Yeah.
going. I'm like, dude, it's getting old, dog.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like,
Like the worst ones are like speed limit
yeah,
or you need a beeper, a backup beeper,
yeah,
or I don't know. You could probably
yeah.
list off a whole
What are you
bunch.
here for? A marathon?
Yeah.
Are you guys racing?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Yep. I'm racing
Right.
my buddy.
Right. Yeah. It's like it's so dumb. I will say when there's like a kid in a wheelchair, I might go up to him and be like, "Hey, you want to race?" And you know, the kids normally laugh from that. So, anyway, I
You know
have
what
something on that.
you know what I do find funny
Mhm.
is you ever see somebody in a wheelchair and you don't know them and they're like far away from you and you give them the head nod?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why do we do that?
Yeah, right.
It's like,
I see you.
yeah, what up,
I
doc?
see you. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And like, it's like, you know, the struggle head nod.
Yeah. I try to talk to everybody
I try to talk to people.
that are in wheelchairs because, like, again, like we were talking, we went on for a while about how wheelchair sports changed both of our lives.
Yeah.
Like, I want as many people as possible to get into
Mhm.
that community.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I'll try to get him in. That's how I got into basketball in Cincinnati. Ian Smith saw me out in public and he goes, "Hey, do you play wheelchair basketball?" I was like, "Yeah, I used to, not anymore in Cincinnati." And he's like, "Come on, play with us." So,
Really?
yeah.
I didn't know that.
yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
That's really, really cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And that's
Yeah.
how I met Jake and you now and all that. So usually I tell people how we met, but I think it's pretty apparent.
Dude, I love doing wheelchair basketball demonstrations
Yeah.
at schools,
Yeah, they're fun.
spreading the knowledge and showing wheelchair. Like,
Yeah.
I wish that happened for me in Massachusetts
Yeah.
at my school
Yeah.
when I was in elementary.
Yeah.
Like, I could have been so much better.
Mhm. Yeah.
I would have been a legend.
Yeah, right? Yeah, and it's so cool that Jake has grown, like, the basketball program.
Dude, he's done so much for wheelchair athletics.
Yeah.
He's taken it and just ran
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah,
Not to
he
be
has.
funny.
Yeah. Double amp
But
running with it.
yeah. But yeah.
So going back to inspiration, so part of my take, like I used to work in retail and I've had customers come up to me and be like, "Wow, just completely know it hey, hello, how are you doing?" Just like right off the bat, "Wow, you're so inspirational." And it's like I'm good with that. I actually, my current doctor has said that to me as well. Like, "You're so inspirational." And like, he does know a little bit about my life as well. But at the same time, it's like I don't want to be your inspiration for inspiration's sake. I want to be your inspiration if you're going to take action on that feeling of being inspired,
Mhm.
right? So
That's a good way to put it. But like I said, I still feel like they should know your story.
you're right. I agree. It's
They shouldn't just
patronizing if
Yeah,
someone
yeah.
just thinks that it's cool to see a guy in a wheelchair at a
Yeah.
retail store,
Yeah.
like working. Just
What if I went up to them?
yes,
You got a dumb look on your face. You're inspirational. I can't believe you're out here, dude.
dude. Part of a podcast segment
Yeah.
that I want to do, dude. I think this would go so viral. Is
Going out and saying you're an inspiration to able-bodied people?
no, doing able-bodied things to able-bodied people, like when they're walking down the sidewalk.
Are you guys racing?
Just like yeah. Are you guys racing? Or like just put your back against the sidewalk and be like, I'm sorry. Or
Have you ever gone and raced to the door to hold it open for an able-bodied person?
Yes. Those are the best.
I love doing that.
Yeah, me too.
After you.
This is my next philosophical-ish conversation that I like to get into is opening doors. You led right into it.
Yeah.
You opened that door for me, Mazzi. Good job.
Yeah. I can't believe you get through doors. I thought you would just get stuck in a square box.
Right. So, I've always thought there's two approaches with opening doors. Like open a door like you would everybody else,
Yeah.
but don't make it weird. Is what to quote Jake? Don't make it weird.
Yeah, he said that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate it when they open it towards you and
Yes.
stand right in the way.
Yeah.
And you gotta avoid their feet.
Yeah. Right.
And you're just like, dude, you're making this way harder than it needs to be. I could have been gone.
Like they're literally standing in the door and
Yeah.
your feet are in the way. Like
And they're trying to tiptoe.
Yeah,
They're trying to tiptoe by you. And I'm
Right,
like, dude.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's the awkwardness of like, I've had people that I've opened doors up for, like, just refuse to go in the door. And,
Really?
Yeah, yeah. You've not had that happen?
Never had that.
Dude, you haven't opened up enough doors for people.
I smile at people that I look like a damn advertisement.
Oh, that's great. Maybe I look more crippled than you. I
There you
don't
go,
know.
yeah.
But yeah, like I've had people like reach over and I don't know.
I love picking stuff up off the ground for people.
Oh, that's fun too.
When an
yeah.
able-bodied person drops something,
Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah.
Stay standing up.
I'm closer to the ground.
Yeah, I can get it way quicker than you can.
Yeah,
And they can't beat me to it.
Right. But yeah, doing things for able-bodied people that they're like just not expecting a person in a wheelchair to do.
Oh, of
for
course
them
not.
is just, I love social abnormities. Like at a restaurant, next time you go to a restaurant, the server introduces you, themselves to you, introduce yourself back and see what the reaction is. It doesn't, like, they don't ever get a name back, and that's such a weird interaction.
That
like,
is a weird interaction.
right? Like, you're gonna introduce yourself, but you're not gonna expect other people to introduce themselves back in a social setting like that. It's like, that's really weird. And so I always make a point and be like,
I think I'm going to do that next time.
it's great.
I'm going to ask them all kinds of questions. Where are you from?
Yeah.
What's your zip code?
What's your mother's maiden name?
Yeah. Well, what was the name of your first elementary school?
What was the pet's name that you had growing up?
What is it that? What's that one thing? What's your stripper name?
I don't know.
It's like your first pet's name in the street that you lived on.
Oh my gosh.
It's like mine would be like Summer Gizmo.
Oh my gosh. I grew up on a street that has a very bad name on it. So
what was your first pet's name and the street that you lived, the first street that you lived on or whatever?
I feel like I'm asking security questions, but I don't want the internet to know about this stuff. I do actually want to tell you after the podcast because it is pretty funny.
Because I think that's how you get. I think that's how you get your stripper name.
Yeah. Oh, I've got a great stripper name then.
Periwinkle Blue.
Right.
Periwinkle Dragon.
It's like Anyway. Okay. So going back to opening doors is like you can look at it as like that person's being patronizing to you. And I'm not talking about like you opening the door for like an able-bodied person opening the door for an able-bodied person, and like they're the first one through the door, and so they're holding it for you just because everybody's nice and they're trying to do good things. It's literally when someone runs 30 feet away,
Oh my
being
God,
like,
yes.
I got it, I got
Yes.
it. Um,
I'll wait.
you'll wait.
If I see somebody running, all right, I'll wait. Come on, dog. I can't get through this door without you. Let's do this together, baby.
Dude,
You know what? I'm waiting to see if somebody pulls a hammy, twists the ankle, bust their ass. Then I gotta go help them.
one of
Yeah.
us. One of
Yeah,
us.
you're not one of us.
Oh
Let
my
me call
God,
help.
that's horrible.
Well,
That's great.
but I've definitely seen people running toward the door to go open it for me.
mhm.
Like it's like they're saving my life
Yeah,
or jumping in front of a bullet that I will wait. I'm like, I'm not gonna take this joy out of their life for them.
that's funny.
Their one good deed.
I it, it I I make a point to try to just beat everybody to the door. Like I won't let people open the door for me. So like I actually did that as a kid. I was trying to open up a door at the mall,
Yeah.
and my mom was standing back because I wanted to go through it myself, and it was a really heavy door and whatever. And
Mhm.
this guy came over and opened the door, and I was like throwing a fit, like, no, I wanted to do it, and so like he went through, and I the door closed, and I did it again, and I think that happened a couple more times, and finally I was able to get through the door on my own, and it's like that independence is like, in someone. I don't want to say that in the opening door situation they're doing this, but someone depriving you of like that independence of being
Mhm.
able to do it yourself was like a really hot button for me growing up. So
Growing up, I see that. But so independence and yeah. So heavy doors.
mm-hmm.
One of the reasons why I wait when I see somebody running, because I've been that cocky paraplegic. I can open every door and not be able to open the door. I'd be like, help, dude. What are you staring there? Why are you standing there? I'm struggling. Like I got stuff falling off my lap. Like, yeah, I've been that cocky paraplegic dude that I can open every door
Yeah.
and gone to open the door, and it's been one of those huge, heavy doors, and I got stuff on my lap, and I'm trying to do it all myself, and
Yeah.
I spill everything on the ground, and they're like, you should have just looking at me like, why didn't you let me open the door for you?
Yeah. That's
So
fair.
now I'm
That's
just like,
fair.
all right, cool.
Yeah.
You want to help? If this is gonna make your day to help a
Mm.
dude in a wheelchair open a door,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
I got many doors to look forward to.
Mhm.
That's gonna make me feel independent.
And there's good deeds. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
good deed, and people feel good about doing good
And
deeds.
at some point, I'll be the first one through the door, and I will hold the door open for 5 minutes if I have to for
Yeah.
the next person to come through that door.
Yeah, exactly. And then the because you're opening in a wheelchair, they're like starting to run towards
Yeah,
the
yeah,
door to
yeah.
get through it, and
Yeah.
yeah, that's an interesting discussion. So, but so there's the two roads. There's the patronizing road. You can think they're patronizing, or you can think they're doing a good deed. And one of the things Jake said was, man, you can't really expect an able-bodied person to know the ins and outs of all people in wheelchairs.
True.
Like it's better to assume that they can't open the door than they can.
Yeah. I've had able-bodied people not hold the door open for me, and it
Mhm.
was one of them quick shutting doors.
Right.
Wow. And I'm like, oh, all right. And I've seen the look on their face when they look back and see that you struggling with that door that just slammed
Yeah.
in you.
They're like, oh no.
And they're like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry." So now, like,
Yeah.
you know, like it's everything cuts both ways.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
there's
You're right.
there's always two different sides of the story.
Yeah. And
So
it's a
I
matter
try,
of how you look at it.
yeah, I try not to make a big deal about it. Like I try to hold doors open for people.
Yeah.
I let people hold doors open for me.
Yeah.
If people ask me if I need help, most of the time I'm just like, sure, because that's less shit I gotta do.
Yeah. Right.
But if they fuck it up, I'm gonna let them know.
Yeah. Right.
Like I can fuck it all up by myself.
Yeah, I could have done that.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so another thing that I am a really big advocate of, actually, let's start with curiosity and
Mhm.
people staring.
Okay.
So one of the things that I view for my disability is I view it as someone getting to know a piece of who I am.
Mhm.
And I'm finding more people that I talk to in a wheelchair, they
Yeah.
don't view it like that. They view it more as like, hey, especially if you're a new person. Like any job interview that I've ever had, I've always made a point to bring up my disability because again, I think it's that elephant in the room. But like the whole curiosity and it being on, so I think it's on disabled people to make sure that one, we get rid of the elephant in the room if it's even there, and then
Mm.
two, and create to spread the awareness.
I think it's on both. I think it's on both. You have to be accepting, be cool about talking about it,
Yeah, that's
you know?
fair.
Because I've also seen people be like, "Oh my god, don't ask him that."
Mhm.
Like a kid asks you,
Yes.
why are you in a wheelchair?" And then the
Yeah.
parent says, "Oh my god, don't ask him that."
Yes.
And then that makes it just weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, no, it's fine. I was in a car accident.
Yeah.
You know, if it's this real young kid, I'm like, I didn't wear my seatbelt. You know, maybe it'll help him.
Right.
Who knows?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Right.
But yeah, it's like I try to make it so it's not a big deal,
Right.
and you got to be calm and smooth. Like I've also know disabled, like recently disabled people don't like to talk about
Right.
their accidents because it's hard for them to deal with.
Yeah.
I was a very young age. This is pretty much all I know.
Mhm.
It doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know that it like I don't really remember walking. I don't.
Yeah.
This is what I know. If
Yeah.
I feel like if I would become more disabled,
Yeah.
it would be tough on me,
Yeah.
and it would be hard on me,
Yeah.
especially on my psyche.
Yeah.
Like you know.
Yeah.
So it depends on it on the individual.
Yeah. So, okay, let me ask you this. And yes, I think you're right. There's not a one size fits all. And this question is going to be more or less a one size fits all type of question. But when it comes to asking people, like if somebody asks you what your disability is, let's start there. If somebody asks you what your disability is, how do you respond?
I'm a T12
A
paraplegic.
random person.
I'm a T12 paraplegic. I was in a car accident.
Okay. So, and does that bother you when people ask you?
No.
Okay. If,
I'd rather somebody ask me than assume
yeah, that's fair.
because if they have a conversation with me
Mm-hmm.
and they ask me all these questions, I could be who I am
Yeah,
and I could tell them who I am
you're right.
and I could tell them my story and
Yep.
then I can be inspirational.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if they're just assuming and don't ask me questions and like you have no idea who I am. I could be a drug dealer.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah. I could be all kinds. I could be a Paralympian,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Or I could have a crazy ass story.
Yeah.
You have no idea who I am.
Yeah.
Get to know me.
Yeah.
Just like how we treat able-bodied people. We just don't think we want to know who they are first before we pass judgment.
Yeah.
Or, you know, we
Yeah.
can't just be like, you look shady.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Exactly. So with disability and people asking you,
Hmm.
does it ever get annoying?
No.
Okay.
For me, no. Like I said, I want I want all my friends. If you're gonna be my friend, I want you to know who I am.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. But what about like a complete stranger?
They're a potential friend.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fair. The other thing is something Jake said that I thought was interesting. He goes, he said, Zach, you have spina bifida. And that's a pretty easy to explain that. I got run over by a train.
Hmm.
And imagine the amount of questions that follow after saying I got run over by a train. You got in a car accident.
Mhm.
Yes, there's other questions, and I didn't know you got kidnapped and
Mhm.
all that. Like, you can leave those out
Yeah.
if you don't want to.
Yeah.
Like someone asking you a whole bunch of questions if you've got to go, but like at least you'll say what it is.
Well, that's why I only answer for me.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna answer for Jake.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
not,
yeah,
you know?
exactly. Right. I know. I think as I'm having these conversations with disabled people, it's interesting the types of answers that I'm getting. So,
Oh, for sure.
it's neat.
But that's why people should have conversations
Yeah.
and ask and talk. We're social people. We're a
Yeah.
social species. We should have conversations.
And that's part of the purpose of this podcast is to hopefully somebody listening can be like, "Oh, I never thought of that." I will tell you one more thing, just going back real quick to the opening doors. Somebody told me once that it's more about like some people don't want you to open up the door as a person in a wheelchair for them because other people around them might think they're an asshole for just going through the door. And I thought that was a neat thing. And I like there's an able-bodied person that actually told me that
Dude,
once.
I've been in a car or I've been yeah, I've been in a car and a girlfriend driving and they would get out and like put groceries in the car.
Yeah.
And I'm in the car already.
Uh-huh.
And people are looking at me like, why is that dude not helping his girl put groceries in the car?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So don't judge.
Yeah.
Don't judge.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I had a guy. I took crutches to church one day, and I had my crutches on the pew next to me, and
Mhm.
I was sitting down, and this guy over to my other side was like, it was time to stand, and he goes, "Why aren't you standing for the Lord?" or something like that, and I just pointed at my crutches, and the look on his face was like, "Oh my gosh,
All right, now you reminded me of a story.
let's go!"
All right, airplane. So I'm on this airplane. I don't know where the hell I'm going because I've flown so many places. I look pretty white. I
Yeah,
don't look like I speak Spanish.
unless you have that mustache.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm sitting in the aisle. This really old couple that speak Spanish, don't speak English,
Yeah.
have to sit in the window seat and in the middle seat.
Uh-huh.
And I'm trying to like move so they could go.
Mm.
And they just start talking so much trash about me.
Oh.
About like, why don't I stand up and get out of the fucking way? The whole flight, they're speaking Spanish, talking shit about me. When we finally land and they get by me, I say goodbye to them in Spanish. But that's all that happened. And they looked like they felt bad about talking shit.
Did you say goodbye and like everybody knows the word adios, or did you say goodbye like,
No,
hey,
I said it in
I
a
hope
sentence.
you enjoyed your flight?
Yeah, I
like,
said it in a full long sentence, so you know
yeah.
I can speak Spanish like a badass. Yeah, you
That's-
know I understood everything you said about me sitting next to me.
Yeah, that's hysterical. Oh my gosh.
But then they also saw that I got in an aisle chair
Mm.
and I got in a wheelchair
Yeah.
and I couldn't walk and
Yeah.
they felt bad.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't want them to feel bad, but yeah,
Right.
you know, it's
Right.
just they assumed that I couldn't get up
Yeah.
or that I couldn't. That they assumed that I could walk,
Yeah. Yeah.
which I guess it's a normal thing to assume.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. It is.
So I can't be mad that you know they didn't know.
Yeah, especially if
But
you
I
don't
thought it was
look
funny.
crippled.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I had jeans on.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Baggy
that's right.
jeans, so
Yeah.
it looked like I had full legs.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Some good calf muscles.
Yeah. 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 This might go. Try to keep this as appropriate as possible.
God.
But do you have a good wheelchair pickup line?
A good wheelchair. No, you know what? I don't. But
Like just a corny one. It doesn't have to be like one that works or whatever. Just like
well, first I'll tell you, for people in wheelchairs, if you're scared that you can't pick up girls, that's bullshit.
yeah. Yeah.
All you have to do is say hello.
Yeah.
Hello, what's your name?
Yeah.
Have a conversation with somebody.
Yeah.
And then they'll see you as a person.
Uh-huh.
And they'll start looking past your wheelchair.
Yes.
So that's
True.
I've taught that to every teammate I've ever had that was scared to talk to women. And yeah.
Yeah.
Pickup line? Man. I don't know.
So why you're thinking the reason why I thought
All
of
right.
this is I have gone up to and now I just do this as a joke, but I've gone up to a girl, like a complete stranger, and done this. I've asked her for her hand, and I've just said, I just want to say that looking at you is, and then I'll stand up and I'll say miraculous. and
Oh God.
and I had this girl just start yelling at me like you, I can't believe you would get a wheelchair and fake being disabled just so you could try to pick me up and blah 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 blah. And like when you said you were wearing jeans, I was wearing jeans in this moment,
Mhm.
and so I was like, I immediately picked up my pant leg. I'm like, no, look at my leg braces, blah 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 blah. Like my ankles are smaller.
Yeah.
I swear I'm in a wheelchair. Blah blah blah. blah.
That's funny.
And so I don't know, that's what made me think of that. So
I have been in a club before and I was trying to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And to get to the bathroom, you had to go through the dance floor.
Mm.
And it was so hard to get there because I had girls trying to grind on my lap,
Oh gosh.
trying to dance on me,
Okay.
which I appreciate.
Sure.
But I had to pee.
Yeah.
And I had to keep telling them, no, I'm not trying to dance with you. I'm trying to go to the bathroom. Get out of my way.
Oh no, that's
But that made me think of like, hey, girl, you look tired. You need a seat.
yeah, that one.
Or, hey, baby, you got mad curves and I ain't got no brakes.
Oh my gosh.
Or, I hope you got a big trunk 'cause I'm going to put my wheelchair in it.
No. I should have asked that. Control Z, control.
Yeah.
No. Okay, so let's go back to parents shushing kids. So you had mentioned that a little earlier is like it's so interesting to me how the initial reaction when a kid goes, "Mommy, look at that! Daddy, look at that! Why is that person sitting down?" Whatever the reaction that kid has, the instant reaction of that parent most of the time is, "Shh, don't do that, don't do that." And I have a one I wanted to ask, like, how do you react to those situations? But then two, I have a hypothesis that I wanted to get by that I wanted to run by you. Let's start with your response there, and then I'll run through the hypothesis.
So my response there, it depends on the day and depends on what I'm doing.
Yeah.
If I got time to explain what happened to me and it's not a big deal, then I'll have a conversation with the whole family.
Yeah.
But if I'm like trying to be quick at the grocery store or something, I just smile and wave and keep going.
Yeah.
You know, and let the parent be right.
Yeah.
But I'd rather be like, no, it's okay. I was in a car accident when I was young.
Yeah. That's fair. I try to stop every single time myself because I think in going into my hypothesis is I think that trains somebody at an early age to not be curious, and I think curiosity is super important to have, especially when you're a kid growing up. And then later on in life, like you and I are pretty extroverted people.
Yeah.
And I wonder what that would do to an introverted person in a wheelchair. So what I mean by that is that person then goes on in life and says, "Oh, I shouldn't be curious about that. I don't know how to interact with that. So therefore, I'm not going to interact with it."
Yeah.
And I'm curious if you think that that's a possible mindset shift that
I could see
have.
that. I could see that happening. But yeah, I agree with you in like I'd rather have a conversation with those people.
Yeah.
And with that kid and be like, it's okay.
Yeah.
But like sometimes the parents need to learn too. They probably have been taught that way.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
So you gotta break that chain, that link and be like, no, it's okay to be curious.
Yeah.
It's just how you approach your curiosity and
Yes.
be respectful and ask a question.
Yeah.
You know?
I've had parents my favorite response is something like, he needs that to get around or something like that. It's not a shush. It's hey, let me just quickly educate you. And yes, I'm in earshot, but
I also like when the parents say, do you mind if my kid asks you some questions?
yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, hey, why don't we go up and ask? That's great. I wanted to ask you about, oh man, I lost it. So dang it. I forgot. This was a really good question that I had for you, Mazzi.
I believe you.
It was
It
good.
looks like it was going good.
Yeah.
Well, we were talking about picking up girls.
Oh, yeah, right. No, this is it. So, when it comes to people asking disabled people just randomly why they're in a wheelchair, one of the things that I've been thinking about, other than something horribly traumatic, and who knows if it is or not, I wonder if getting that, like a new person in a wheelchair to face those types of questions early on is better for them.
I don't know.
I know. It's just a hypothetical thing that I've been wondering. Is it's
I
like,
wouldn't know. I've tried to help people. I tried to help this one dude who was hurt on his prom night. He was prom king with the prom
Whoa.
queen. Car accident in the limo, paralyzed. Prom queen, his girlfriend left him. After that, I tried to get him to get out of his apartment.
Yeah.
All he wanted to do was stay in his apartment and smoke weed.
Mm.
I didn't know how to talk to him.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, I play wheelchair basketball. Why don't you come play wheelchair basketball with me?
Yeah.
Why don't you do this? It'll be fun. You'll love it.
Yeah.
None of that worked.
Yeah.
And but I couldn't relate to him.
Right.
I don't know how that feels to be the man in high school
Mm.
and be struck down in your prime.
Yeah.
You know, or at the best time of your life for him.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden, good looking dude, beautiful girlfriend.
Yeah.
Like I understood why he didn't want to do anything.
Right.
Because I don't know if I would be able to deal with that either.
Right.
But like I said, everybody's different. Different case, different scenario, different accident, different.
Yeah.
There's so many variables.
There are.
Yeah.
You're right. But I mean, part of me thinks that the reason why he was in that situation is because he didn't want to face it.
Maybe.
It was too hard for him.
But like, yeah, it was too hard for him. But who knows if it got, I haven't talked to him since.
Yeah.
Who knows if it got easier with time?
Yeah.
And he found, he's an inspirational, motivational,
Yeah.
you know, he goes to schools and talks, or
Yeah.
who knows what he does.
Yeah.
Or he never recovered,
Yeah.
you know? We don't know. I don't know what happened to him
But again, it's like
or what helped him.
kind of like what we were talking about earlier. It's like, what choice do you have?
Yeah.
And it's like, I would imagine doing something like that leads one of two ways.
Yeah.
Either it leads you down a path of where you might not be here anymore, or you say, whoa, we were talking about rock bottom earlier. You hit rock bottom and you're like, I'm done. I'm done. I'm changing. I'm turning my life around right now. And so I guess going back to somebody asking the question of, hey, why are you in a wheelchair? A stranger asking you that. I've had people who I've asked that question to have very traumatic responses. Like they're in a wreck, they were in a wreck and it was their fault. Stuff like that. Like,
Yeah.
Or like something happened to them that was completely their fault. And maybe other people were injured along the way. And it was, again,
or they've killed people.
Or they've killed people.
Yeah.
Right. And like that's such a traumatic response. And I can imagine somebody like that. Like, I don't want to talk about it. Like if that happened,
That's
if
why
that was me.
That's why I think asking the question, do you mind if I ask you questions?
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
Because then the person has the choice to say yes or no.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be a bad like conversation.
You're right. Yeah.
Because they could easily say, no, thank you. Or I can't right now. And keep going. You know? But if you're like, what happened?
Yeah.
And they're like, well, I fucking did this.
Yeah. Yeah.
You asshole.
Yeah.
Thank you for bringing it up.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Absolutely. Interesting. That's all interesting conversations. Do you have any other like thoughts or anything like that about disability that you want to get out?
I like if you get hurt find wheelchair sports, man.
Yes. Yes.
Find the wheelchair community. Be around people that are going through the same struggles as you. Even if you're not in a wheelchair, like addicts, find other addicts that are trying to get their life together.
Yeah.
You know, go to AA meetings.
Yeah.
In my experience in life, anything that I've struggled with, if I find people that have also struggled with that, that like you can get some good advice, or you can just get some help.
Yeah.
And then surround yourself with people that are doing good.
Yeah.
Or they're doing better than you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I love the disabled sports community in Cincinnati. I mean, in general, I love the disabled sports community.
Oh, for sure.
I guess one question that I have is if somebody listening to this is in a city that they don't have, that they're disabled, or maybe they're not, and they want to get started with wheelchair sports, what advice would you give them?
I would say either start it,
Yeah.
nonprofit,
Yeah.
move closer somewhere,
Yep.
talk to some other people that want to start it,
Mm-hmm.
find out what other disabled people are in your community
Yep.
or around,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because other people probably thinking the same thing.
Yeah. I will also say, so you didn't necessarily compete per se. I mean, you had fun like doing pig and stuff like that. It sounded like, but
Mhm.
like for me, I played high school able-bodied tennis. I was on my high school able-bodied tennis team.
Oh, wow.
I tried out, and there were cuts, and I made the team as a result of just me being good.
Mhm.
And then the other thing is USTA, the United States Tennis Association.
Yeah.
High school has to follow those rules,
Mhm.
and the USTA rules say wheelchairs get 2 bounces.
Mhm.
And so when I was playing high school able-bodied tennis, I would get 2 bounces,
Okay.
and they would get 1.
Mhm.
So the other cool thing is sometimes I played doubles,
Mhm.
and like let's say my partner missed on 1 bounce, I would be able to back them up by getting it on 2 bounces.
Could they back you up on 2 bounces?
No,
Okay.
no, they have to hit the ball on 1 bounce.
So
So
if they swung and missed,
if they swung and missed,
you
they
still
could
got
bounce
it.
a second time, and I could still get it.
Y'all cheating.
Yeah, right.
I would have said cheating.
But I think one of the pieces of advice that I would give is get involved in a sport that you can play with able-bodied people. Figure out how the adaptations that you have that you need for the wheelchair, and then go from there. I mean, you can even downhill ski with your friends if you wanted to. I
So
did that.
so
So
I played I played with my able body friends,
yeah,
and they helped me adapt.
yeah,
Like whatever we were playing, they adapted it
that's great.
for me.
Do you,
And I was most of the time I was better than them.
were you? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just because I was like we were young
Yeah.
and my arm strength was a lot more than theirs.
Right.
Because I was
Yep.
pushing a wheelchair and I was crawling on the ground at a young age,
Yeah.
like very fast.
Yeah.
And I've always had the upper body strength more than a person who doesn't work out.
Right.
You know?
Uh-huh. Did you like basketball, for example? I mean, unless you play pig or whatever else,
I
like,
actually played
I can see that being very difficult
I played
because
full
you're
court
running
basketball.
because you're running into them, they're
So
tripping over you.
we would like come up with rules, be like, all right, my team's playing zone defense. I'm
Yeah.
only playing defense up by a 3-point line. And you can defend me as much as you want, but like don't try to take a charge.
yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Right. Yeah.
And I was just mindful.
Yeah.
I was because I had my basketball chair and I was just mindful of not hitting it, running into them.
Mm.
And I would just stay out by the 3-point line and just shoot threes and bang threes all day.
Yeah.
And usually the guy who's defending me would go help
Yeah.
and defend like our best player, and then
Yeah.
I would just hit threes, and they'd be like, "That's cheating."
Okay.
But yeah, I would just be mindful, and I was like, "I'll play, but I'm gonna try not to hurt you guys."
Right. Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Interesting.
It's funny because like you would think they'd be like, "Oh, I don't want to hurt the guy in the wheelchair,"
Yeah. Right.
but the guy in the wheelchair is actually trying not to hurt you.
Right. Because
Yeah.
you have the metal.
Yeah, I would break your kneecaps and your ankles.
Yeah. And so I think the advice of like playing with able-bodied people, that doesn't get you to the core of what we've learned by being around disabled people, you know? It doesn't give you the life lessons of someone that's an expert person in a wheelchair that you just don't get that. So
Yeah.
I still suggest, like as you said, like trying to create a team sport or something like that. So I mean, Jake's starting with track and tennis because they're solo sports.
Yeah.
Before he grows into team sports. So
Yeah.
that seems like a pretty good strategy. So okay. I have other questions on here, but we're at 2 hours 42 minutes. Does
I'm
it
good.
feel like it's that long?
Now it does. I'm tired.
Yeah, right. Okay, well we can go ahead and wrap up.
right. I enjoyed it though.
Yeah, it's been fun. Yeah, okay. That I was just trying to review anything that it's like pressing stuff that I was like I really wanted to have you on to ask you, but no, I think we covered it all. Mazzi, I appreciate it.
Thanks,
was
man.
just
Thanks
as
for
fun
having me,
as
dog.
Yeah, it was just as fun as I expected it would be, and I hope everybody got a lot out of the conversation, and I hope people learned a thing or two. They
Yeah.
laughed a few times,
Hell
and
yeah.
they got some things out
I
of it.
could have
So
been funnier, but he wouldn't let me.
yeah, right. I did say try to keep it as kid appropriate as possible, but yeah, he could have been a little bit. Yeah, you kind of missed on the funny. No, I'm kidding. No, I really appreciate it.
Thanks,
Thank
man.
you,
You're
thank you
doing
so
great,
much.
dude. This is awesome.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I'm gonna go ahead and do my outro. So, guys, thank you for joining us on the Rolling Forward podcast today. If you liked what you heard, hit that like button, subscribe, or drop a comment.
Yeah.
I don't know if drums should really go there, but
No.
but yeah, hit that like button, subscribe, or drop a comment. I want to hear what keeps you rolling forward. My next t-shirt idea or something you heard today that stuck with you. I'm for it all. Real quick tidbit: I've been researching YouTube analytics a lot, and if you like and then scroll off of it, YouTube looks at engagement more than it does likes or comments or anything like that. So the more you're on my content, the better. It helps me out, especially if you like it and you want to support. So and if you want to see more shirts like this, I didn't create this one. I got this on Amazon. But if you want to see more shirts like this,
Case of fire.
Case of Fire, use stairs. Thank you, Mazzi. You can find my designs over at rollingforward.printful.me. And if you've got a story worth sharing that fits the theme of what we're doing here, I'd love to hear from you. You could be my next guest. Until next time, keep rolling forward.
Even you can be in a wheelchair.
Even you could be in a wheelchair. What?